All right. And I'm just trying to get rid of this here. And we are live, I believe, folks. Welcome.
Okay.
Just waiting for the guys to join in.
Can you
Oh,
hear me?
sorry. I was in hair and makeup.
Oh, yeah. They always take forever. All right. So, hold on. Let me just get my notes. And of course, oops. All right, hello and welcome to episode 37 of Fright Lounge, the show in which the best horrorologists in town are going to discuss horror in depth and get a conversation going for the seasoned horror viewers as well as newbies. I am your host, Rigor, from the podcasts Then Is Now, The East Meets the West, and the Cult Movie Lounge, as well as a writer for Soap Hub and Soap Central. And we have got another full night, a full house tonight. Well, we're supposed to. Owen's supposed to be here soon, but we have a full night of movies too. So, first of all, joining me, as always, is the grooviest doomsayer, Bill Van Ryn from Groovy Doom and Drive-In Asylum. Welcome, Bill.
Hello, hello. It's nice to see you again.
Excellent. Nice. Glad to have you here. Yeah, same. And hold on. I need to lower this window because there we go. And of course, the fabulous Prince Regent of electronic dance music, Dantes Alexander. Welcome back, Dantes.
Hello, hello. Excited to be back after a long time no see.
Yes.
We still don't see you. All I see is a graphic.
Well, today it'll be just a graphic.
Oh, okay. I didn't know if it was on purpose or if we were having an issue.
Okay, I'm just making sure I was recording. So, all right, folks. So tonight our topic is vigilante movies, and when I was going to have before we did this, I was going to have Owen talk about the last episode because he missed it, and I just wanted to get his thoughts on Night of the Living Dead and Dawn of the Dead, but we haven't. He hasn't gotten in touch, so we will plow forward. So
Shut
the
us
films we
up. How dare he?
I know. Hey, who knows? Shit happens. So we are discussing tonight, we are discussing the movie Vigilante from 1982, starring Robert Forster. Actually, the first one we're going to discuss is Death Wish from 1974, starring Charles Bronson, the granddaddy of all modern vigilante movies. Then, of course, Vigilante, The Exterminator with Robert Ginty, and Vigilante 4, starring Jan Michael Vincent and Chris Christopherson. And so I just want to give the folks at home a brief lowdown on vigilante films. They gained prominence in the 1970s, emerging as a reflection of societal concerns and anxieties about crime and law enforcement. The genre gained traction in the wake of social and political upheaval, with films like Death Wish and Dirty Harry serving as key examples. These films explored themes of personal responsibility, the limits of the justice system, and the moral complexities of taking the law into one's own hands. And one thing I want to say up front about these movies is that for the most part, I think except for Vigilante Force, I noticed a pattern in them. And you've got the main character, and throughout the first third of the movie, every so often, two or three times, he hears someone tell him statistics about the crime and the crime rate, or he knows someone who was a victim of a crime. And then, of course, someone close to the main character is a victim of a crime, and then that's when they go all vigilante. So I thought that was kind of a cool. I had never really thought about that pattern before. So all right, so our first film, like I said, is the grandfather of modern vigilante films, Death Wish. This movie was a reaction to the crime rate in New York City that was just ridiculously out of control back in the 70s. I read people were cheering throughout the audience. I mean, people in the audience were cheering throughout the film when it premiered. And I kind of missed those days, actually. I've been to a lot of movies where people had cheered at certain parts. Uh,
Yeah.
so, Dantes, since you're up against the clock, well, let me read the synopsis and then I'll let you give us your first impression and maybe some key thoughts on the film, okay?
Cool.
All right. When mild-mannered architect Paul Kersey's wife is murdered and his daughter brutalized by street thugs in a grimy, crime-ridden New York City, something inside him snaps, and out comes a vengeance-fueled one-man war machine with a pocket full of .32 caliber justice. Armed with a revolver and a thousand-yard stare, Kersey strolls the mean streets, turning muggers into morgue cases, baffling the cops, thrilling the press, and igniting a citywide debate on vigilantism. All while Charles Bronson growls his way into cinematic legend as the quietest, coldest badass to ever shoot first and not even bother asking questions later. So, Dantes, is this a first viewing for you?
This was definitely a first viewing for me. And I have to say, I was very, very impressed because it's 1974, and I didn't know that these types of films, sorry to do this, but I didn't know that these types of movies existed in 1974. And and I see the reasoning why it's called the granddaddy of, this particular, type of genre. Because immediately after watching this, it made me go watch The Brave One. Do you guys remember that with Jodie Foster?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And immediately I said, wow, I'm like, here is a guy who has been pushed, too hard, society has not done what they're supposed to do, and he's pissed off. Boy, this feels so familiar now, doesn't it? And it even has no, seriously, it even has a place in the world today when we start, placing this film, in like a modern context, like when you think about the Mangione kid who shot the healthcare CEO and, all of the, so people are tired and people are frustrated. And I see so many direct parallels between the time, that this was filmed and now. Just the fact that, when he went down to, Arizona. Am I telling the movie spoiler alert?
No,
Um,
that's fine.
when he went down to Arizona for work, he went to the shooting range and, he realized that he was this excellent, excellent, excellent fucking marksman,
Yeah.
and he was gifted it was like a revolver, I think. And, and then he gets back to New York and he feels like empowered. And it's funny how, like, these small guns, right? And it's funny how guns can make you feel empowered, stronger or
Yeah.
not, not as, passive as before. And so he sort of took on like this aggressive, like prowling, when he got back to New York, baiting the muggers and shit, and
Yeah.
and and basically killing them in self-defense. And but of course, being from Chicago, that's probably my favorite scene. You know,
Is that staircase at the end there? Do you know where that is?
yes, I do know where that staircase is at the end is. It's actually by the University of Illinois at Chicago, and they're still there. So the next time, guys, when I am downtown, I will find and deliver that to you guys. But yes,
Yeah.
Awesome.
but I love that scene when the woman is being harassed, and all he has to do is make a gun gesture at the
Yeah.
and you're like, oh shit, it's never gonna stop. We've let something special out of the bag here. But what I thought was also cool too about this movie was I think I haven't seen any other film, I think, besides maybe The Dark Knight, where they didn't want to turn, the protagonist into a martyr, you know what I mean? Or one of the protagonists into the martyr. So he was sort of like they let him slip away quietly, which I thought was kind of cool too. And that's why I drew the parallels between this film and The Brave One, because I literally went and watched it after I watched this because I'm like, wow. And it almost looks like they tried to, take, pieces of the scenes, from this film and it, tried to make it contemporary. And I guess a lot of people probably won't notice that. And I'm sure people will now since we're discussing this, on the show. But I loved it. I did. And I feel like I just told everybody the whole movie. Sorry.
No, that's okay. I mean, the movie's what? Almost 50 years old, isn't it? It's
It's
actually,
really old and really popular, so
yeah.
don't worry about it.
It was
But
remade with Bruce Willis a couple years ago, I think.
oh, that's why I didn't watch it. It's Bruce Willis.
I like Bruce Willis.
Poor
But
Brucey, Brucey, Brucey. But um, and it was just like the scene where his daughter was sexually assaulted was kind of hard for me to watch. Also, too, even though I know this movie was like
by
50 years old.
by Jeff Goldblum.
Yes,
yeah,
and
no
and
kidding.
maybe that was why it was so uncomfortable for me because I'm like, what? I'm like, this just feels so wrong. Look at little Jeff.
I know, huh? Did you recognize him?
Instantly, because as soon as I saw him, I was like, oh shit, it's the Grand Master.
They skeezed him up a little bit, but you can really tell it's Jeff Goldblum nonetheless.
I'm
That's
like,
so
it's the
funny.
Grand Master from Thor because we just watched Thor or whatever, and I was like, this is totally, 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 totally wrong. That
He has speed freak eyes anyway, so
Yeah.
Jeff Goldblum made a great villain like that. Street
And he
yeah,
freak.
also
really
was great in The Fly because he had those bug eyes. So it kind of went, and he would do this little twitch, you know?
And but I thought also too what was really ironic about it, and I'm not justifying obviously vigilanteism, but if the crime rate does drop, it's almost like that show Dexter. You know,
Yeah.
like is it really bad that this guy is taking out bad people? Is
I
it
don't think so.
okay? You know?
Yeah.
So, like, but I enjoyed it. I really did. It was my first time seeing it, and I really do understand why it's called the Granddaddy totally because I didn't even honestly, guys, like I did not know that boundaries were being pushed like this in 1974. And I'm sure there are some people who will be like, "Oh, well, this is very mild compared to what we're doing now." But I mean, it was sort of it was going a little further over the edge, I feel like, than where we were at as a nation at that time. It was very risky to, you know, film, content like that. Just, have, young girl be sexually assaulted and then, to glorify, individual who's been pushed too far who goes out to, clean up the shit that the police and at that time, New York was understaffed and it was fucking shitty. Like,
Yeah.
you
Never a
know,
more wretched hive of scum and villainy.
oh my God. Like, because every time I see, all of the newsreels from that time, it totally matched with the environment of what was going on in New York at that time. Like, um, yeah, it really was good. It really was good. Really, really,
Awesome.
really.
Awesome. How are you on time?
I'm good until it's 8:16 your time, so I'm good
Yeah.
until 9 your time.
Okay. All right. So we'll just continue on. All right. So Bill, give us your first impressions on this.
And it took me a long time to watch this movie. I can't remember exactly when I finally did, but it was in the last 10 years.
Really?
Because yeah, and I don't know why. I don't know, it just never seemed like my thing. Because
Right? That's what I said too, Bill. I'm like, this is totally not my thing. I don't like stuff like this.
yeah, I still don't. I mean, like I really don't like vigilante movies and not just vigilante movies, but um movies that have a realistic look to them, like home invasion films,
Mhm.
torture porn, stuff like Hostel and everything. Like I don't like it to look realistic, like it's happening to real people. Last House on the Left is another
Yeah.
one that comes to mind. Like
Yeah.
I have a hard time watching movies like that.
Yeah.
And
That's a hard one to watch.
yeah, I mean, and these are obviously the predecessors to Death Wish, or at least, by default, because Last House was 72.
All right.
That is a story of revenge.
Where was
And
I Spit on Your Grave? When did that come out?
that was after Death Wish.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
I Spit on Your Grave was 78, and but I mean, it's all objective. Coffee is another one that comes to mind,
Mm,
with starring the fantastic Pam Grier. She was a vigilante. That's exactly what she was in that movie, because she was pissed. Like, her
yeah,
sister got like all fucked up on drugs, and like she knew these dealers that were doing this to people were right within her grasp, and she went after them and murdered them. So, these types of films weren't completely unknown when Death Wish came along, but Death Wish did one thing. It kind of like restored this the vigilante movies, the ones that I described, were seen as fringe. That was sort
Hmm.
of fringy,
yeah,
like, it was exploitative. Like, Coffee was not a serious film, really. It was very comic book. And but Death Wish brought this to, like, supposedly respectable theater goers, and by presenting, obviously, like, this middle class white dude who's like pissed, because
yeah,
now he's tired of being victimized. So, that sold it to millions and millions of people in a way that probably would have been seen as exploitative before. And at its heart, it is an exploitation film.
yep,
um,
absolutely.
it's just, it's presented as a serious movie. I think it is a little bit more of a serious movie than many exploitation films, like Last House and Coffee, because this is supposedly set in the real world,
Yeah,
and it's where real people that might even be just like you are being exploited, and this guy who's not going to take it anymore, and he'll
right.
stop at nothing. Like, he will murder you in cold blood.
Yeah,
So
yeah. This movie's got gritty realism. I think that's what really sets it apart.
Yeah.
And first of all, I just want to say that my memories, looking back on my childhood in the 70s, they have the exact film grain as this movie does.
yeah.
I love movies like in New York back in the 70s. They're like time capsules. I don't remember when I first saw this, but I know at a young age that I loved it. And I think, I don't know, I don't recall. Maybe when it was first on TV or something. But this movie was responsible for making me terrified to go into Boston. Now, we lived just outside of Boston growing up. And every time we had to go in there, because like my grandparents lived in East Boston, and it was just like, I was just like, oh my God, we're gonna get mugged. I like for years, I just thought every time you go in the city, you get mugged. Like even I was recently watching, I had the sitcom Good Times in the background. I've seen them all a million times, but I was just kind of going through them while I was doing work around the house. And they kept talking about muggers, like almost every episode. Like that's where I got that from. So it wasn't just Death Wish. There was so many things that people commenting on that in movies and shows. But yeah, but this movie is one of my favorites. I'm a huge Vigilante fan. I love The Punisher. I love all this kind of stuff. Um,
But you know what? Also, too, I think what is so interesting about this movie, too, just like real life, when something bad like this shit that happens out, like if you see someone fucking get shot, like people don't say shit. They just don't mind it. They just turn
yeah.
around in the city. They're like, oh, I don't see shit.
Hmm.
Nothing, nothing's happening. Nothing, like,
It,
so yeah. Oh,
well, even, and I thought there was a nice little, there was a lot of little realistic touches. Like when the first time he kills the guy, he comes home and pukes,
yeah.
because you would, you'd
Yeah.
be shaking
Yeah.
and.
Well, I think that's a lot of what sets Death Wish apart, even from the sequels to Death Wish, which were all comic book, and they were not
Yeah.
the same kind of movie as the original. And and they're great because of that. But Death Wish had its own thing. It was like I said, it's supposedly, it seemed like it was trying to be a little more realistic, and that is something that people probably don't think about. Like, people that tend to be like Yahoo, like with a gun, like, I'll shoot you, I'll shoot you dead. You really don't know what it's like to take another person's life for any reason.
Right.
And
Mhm.
it's not a minor thing, like that. It's not something that at least a normal person will react that way, the way that Paul Kersey does. So I think that was one thing that I don't know whether it was, on they were just trying to make it look like it was more serious when really all they wanted to do was sell an exploitation film, or if this really was intended. It's so hard to pin
Right.
Michael Winner down.
I don't
Um,
know. It didn't really feel like an exploitation film to me because I guess I'm so used to seeing like black exploitation films, but it just felt like gritty, like fucking time capsule.
Yeah.
Like it just was such a fucking dirty movie.
Well, it was exploiting people's fears of crime because the crime was getting so bad back then in the inner cities, you know?
Yeah. You're right. Yeah, especially
So,
New York. My God, like I could not imagine like riding. Could you imagine riding the subway in like 1974 in New York and it being like all graffitied out and smelling like pee and poop and
oh yeah,
the
yeah.
the
I
walls
remember
being
those days in
yellow?
Boston.
Oh my God. Oh, I just couldn't. Like, I think I probably would pee on myself, guys. Like, seriously.
Or you'd get a bicycle.
Or, yeah, a bicycle. But I don't even think that would be safe in riding through some of those neighborhoods back then.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So, Bill, yeah, I think you mentioned Michael Winner is the director here. He also did the same year, 19, no, I'm sorry, he did 1972. He did The Mechanic with Charles Bronson.
yeah.
And he also did one of my favorites, 1977's The Sentinel. That's a creepy movie. Always scared the crap out of me. What are you laughing at, Bill?
That is such a batshit crazy movie, The
Yes.
Sentinel. And
The
I just,
Sentinel?
yeah, I just love it.
Yeah. We'll have to cover that sometime in the future. This is loosely based on the 1972 novel of the same title by Brian Garfield. And as we mentioned, Charles Bronson, the legendary action star. I've been a huge fan of his since like ever. And it's funny because on my one of my other shows, The East Meets the West, where we talk about Shaw Brothers kung fu films and spaghetti westerns, our next episode that we're going to record in a week or so is the western we're going to cover is Once Upon a Time in America, directed by Sergio Leone, one of my favorites. But it stars Charles Bronson, who's awesome in it. Although he looks like he's 20 years younger, and that wasn't that it was 1968, so it wasn't that long before this movie. And Henry Fonda is in it, who was the consummate Hollywood good guy, and he plays the most evil, vicious character I've ever seen. And it's just to see Henry Fonda doing that, like especially if you're an old time fan and you're like 12 Angry Men and On Golden Pond and all that stuff, and then see him just ruthless, like killing kids was okay with him, you know?
Yeah. I think it's worth noting too that Michael Winner's British. So this was not made by an American filmmaker.
Oh, interesting.
It's just,
Interesting.
it is interesting that this is, and the British are notoriously anti-violence. Like they don't want to see things like this. So this was sort of
That's
unusual.
surprising.
Yeah.
That wasn't it Pete Walker who basically said, "Yeah, I didn't call them horror movies, I call them chiller movies," you know, because he didn't want people to get the wrong idea.
I love Pete Walker.
Yeah. So all right, so one thing I want to point out about Charles Bronson for those who might recall is he played Vincent Price's sidekick Igor in House of Wax, the horror movie that put Vincent Price on the map. So at the time of this movie's release, Death Wish was criticized for its apparent support of vigilantism and advocating unlimited punishment of criminals. Again, I don't have a problem with that, but that's my personal opinion. The novel allegedly denounced vigilantism, where the film embraced the notion. It was a commercial success and resonated with the public in the US, which was experiencing increasing crime rates during the 70s. Just a couple of notes on the movie, um, is I remember the attack on the wife and the girl being worse. I mean, it was bad. Don't get me wrong. It's hard to look at, but in my head, when I went to revisit this, because I hadn't seen it in a few years, I'd forgotten, and I thought I was expecting it to be even much worse and much more graphic, and I'm glad it wasn't.
Fruit or something. Like, I just found that to be just so awful.
Oh my God, it's terrible. And Did you notice too throughout the film there were little nods to the fact that Charles Bronson had been in a few westerns, like going to Arizona, and there was just a lot of
I
subtle
didn't
little
get
nods. Like
that.
he's watching a western on TV at one point. I don't know if I didn't write them all down. I should have written them all down, but every so often there's like a sly reference. It's hard to pick up. All right, so let's get into the whatchamacallits, the movie things. Oops.
The movie things.
The newspaper movie ads. I apologize. I've had a long week.
I love the movie things.
All right, so we'll start with that, and then where is my? I can't see with this stupid camera in my face. I'm Paul Casey. I'm gonna give you a death wish. Okay, there's that, and then there's my share button, and then I got Sunny over here. I'm gonna Sunny and share. Okay, and then boom, and I'm gonna hit the full screen mode. All right, so here, I wonder if I can zoom this out a little. Oh, it won't let me zoom it down. But this is basically today's hero goes looking for trouble. I thought this was cool. I'm not going to obviously read the whole article, but screen tough guy Charles Bronson's being cheered in American cinemas for his portrayal of a vigilante in Death Wish, perhaps as much for the mugger baiter he plays as his acting ability. For vigilantes are on the increase in America's fear-ridden society, and Death Wish champions their cause. I think this is. All right, I'm gonna have to get out of full screen here because I can't see the article. Yeah, this is from the Liverpool Daily Post. So this
Mm.
movie played in England. And Bill, if you could just keep an eye on Facebook and YouTube for comments, that would be helpful.
Yeah, I'm already in the Facebook one. I don't know if I can bring up YouTube at the same time.
Okay, that's fine. I have them both up on my computer
I'll
there.
try.
This one is for Newsday, second Smash week. There's another one. I don't know if I kept included it here, but there was fourth Smash week. So this was a huge. I didn't look up how much money it made. Does anyone know?
Oh no, I didn't look up the stats.
So this is, I don't know where Nassau is.
This one is. There we go.
Where is Nassau?
That's the Bahamas.
Really? So this newspaper's from the Bahamas? Okay.
It's the Virgin Islands, I think.
Oh, not until I get there. I don't know what that means. All right.
Yeah, what does that mean?
There will no longer be the Virgin Islands. So you got Death Wish playing with Al Pacino's Serpico, which is
Oh,
a,
it could be Nassau County
Oh
also
man,
in New York.
that would have been a great
oh
double
yeah.
feature. I would have spent the whole damn day in the movie. Guys, this is like a perfect day. Like in the morning, I would have gone to see Little Charlie Brown, a boy named Charlie Brown, and I
Yeah.
would have gone to see Al Pacino and Serpico, of course, right? Because it's fucking Al Pacino. And then finally, to cap off my evening, I would have seen. This is a totally a great day.
Is
Like,
it? I
totally.
some of the I'll let you guys know ahead of time. Some of the ones I kept the entire page because there was so much to look at beyond the film we're talking about.
Oh yeah. Ooh,
All
Serpico
right,
is another Michael Winner movie.
which one?
yeah.
Which one?
Serpico.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah.
on the last screen.
Do you know there was like two or three Charles Bronson movies? When we talk about Jan Michael Vincent, there was another one or two of him out at the same time as his movie. It's really interesting.
Look, and at the top, there's the longest yard. I love that movie.
I'm sorry. No, Scorpio was directed by Michael Winner,
Oh,
not Serpico. I apologize for my brain.
you
This
mean
is a
is it
good
about
day
Scorpio from
too.
General Hospital?
This is a really cool one too because you have the longest yard at the top up there. This is totally feasible right here. This would have been a good day too.
Yeah.
Like
Trial
totally a
of
good
Billy
day.
Jack. That's awesome
Yeah,
sequel.
totally a good day here.
I love with Death Wish though. The matinee of Charlie Brown is under. Oh, it's under all of them. Okay, I didn't realize that. And then
Ace today at the Beacon.
look at starting Wednesday, Death Wish. Starting Wednesday, Death Wish. Both at the Jerry Lewis Cinema.
Hey, lady, come see Death Wish.
Oh my God, young lady. At the White Shopping Center And it starts Thursday. Oliver starts Thursday. So this starts Wednesday. That's an interesting double feature then, if that's how they're going to do it.
They totally would have been there.
Oh, here we go. Earthquake with Charles Bronson on the left. Of course, this thing is in the way again. And we've got Death Wish on the left and Earthquake. I saw that in the theater in Sense Around. That was
Oh
awesome.
God, I would have loved to have seen that.
Yeah. I remember as a kid watching Ben Cartwright being hauled up the thing. He's in a chair and they've got him on this cable and they're trying to save his life and in the
Oh
building
yeah,
collapsing. It's
that
like, what a
happened
dream.
in Pittsburgh. One of the old theaters in Pittsburgh, the Warner showed it in Sense Around, and a big chunk fell out of the ceiling on the audience.
Oh my God. I hope no one was hurt.
I'm sure somebody was kind of hurt, but I don't. No one was killed.
The manager was hurt by the amount he's gonna have to pay to get it fixed.
Yeah,
On Long Island, it's an exclusive.
Long Island.
All right, and here is another one. I don't understand why this won't let me shrink them down. It's like, oh well.
I love that tagline there. Vigilante city style, judge, jury, and execution. Charles Bronson, Death Wish.
Yeah. Again with Scorpio. I mean Serpico. Now you got me saying that.
I know. Sorry.
Oops. Did I? Oh, it just shrank back down. So we've got,
Apologies to Sidney Lumet,
yeah.
who directed Serpico.
And sometimes I forget that Al Pacino is as old as he is. I really do.
Yeah. What is that? Laurel Cry Rape and the Love Object. Ew. Oh, the
Look,
Laurel.
guys, Ingmar
Yeah.
Bergman scenes from a marriage.
I've
I
never seen that.
I never saw that.
just know Ingmar Bergman. I love her. She was fabulous.
She
He was
Ingmar.
just fabulous. I've never seen this movie, but I know she was fabulous.
Um, and then we've got Trial of Billy Jack on the right there. I love that Billy Jack hat. You know, you can get one of those.
Yeah.
And he clobbers the mob, Black Belt Jones. That's a fun one. I love that. You see a lot of, I mean, look at Space
Look
2001
at all these
Space
good
Odyssey is
movies.
re-released here.
Man, that is crazy. Just
Chinatown.
looking at all of these classic movies.
Yeah.
Every single one of these movies are fantastic.
Yeah.
The Longest Yards. I remember seeing that a lot on HBO, I guess.
Yeah.
I never saw that. That's a
Oh,
football
really?
movie, right?
Yeah, with Burt Reynolds.
Oh, yeah. I never
You
cared
recommend
much for
watching that
sports
one
movies.
over the one with God. What they tried to do a remake in like the early 2000s. I can't remember
Yeah,
who.
I think
Who
it
was
was
in
like Adam
that?
Sandler or
Yeah,
somebody.
yeah. I didn't. That was why I probably didn't want to see it. It was
One of
because
those funny guys. I don't remember.
I
That's
don't
funny.
even. Yeah, the one with Burt Reynolds is it for me though.
Um, okay, so here's another. So they pretty much, I didn't find too much variation on the posters, except for one that we'll come across soon. This
He's
is
looking
cool.
like Han Solo in this one.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. And then a blunt expert thriller. Paul
This
Coyce
is a
gonna
nice
kill three
poster.
muggers tonight. One for his murdered wife, one for his raped daughter, and one for you.
it's a movie. It's a thriller for blunt experts.
Right. Hey, can you pass the
This
blunt?
this would have been a really nice poster.
Yeah, that's kind of cool. At the Soikel Theater. Oh, Cleveland Soikel. That's Boston. Oh, yeah. All right. So this one, I kept a lot of the other stuff in here, and let's kind of zoom in and we'll go from the top down. So we've got Andy Warhol's Frankenstein, but after Andy Warhol's Frankenstein, we've got Andy Warhol's
Dracula.
Dracula. We did X at the Soikel.
The X-rated version, which really is no big deal.
Really?
No, there's no actual like pornography in those movies. I think the reason it was rated X was because of all the blood that Udo
Oh,
Kier pukes up in it.
right.
I don't know if you've ever seen that, but
Yeah.
the puking is just he can only drink virgin blood. and he keeps attacking these women who say they're virgins, and they're obviously not, and their blood makes him sick, and he vomits blood everywhere. So
Oh my God. We can look at we got the Taking of Pelham one and two. I don't know,
I
one,
like
two,
that
three.
one.
That's a good one. Airport 1975. I love those airport disaster movies.
Hmm.
Marx Brothers. I love the Marx Brothers. Animal Crackers is hilarious. I've never seen the Groove Tube. That's supposed to be like whacked out like Amazon Women on the Moon, right?
I'm
Never
not
seen that.
sure. Yeah, I'm not sure what the Groove Tube is. I
Yeah, I
see
don't.
ads for it all the time, but I've never watched it.
Yeah. I'm gonna have to check that out sometime. All right, so wait, where's my drive-in theater? Oh yeah, down at the very bottom, the Starlight Drive-In in North Reading. That's where I would have gone most likely and seen Death Wish. I may have seen it in the drive-in, but I don't remember that. And then we've got, oh, I had to keep this because, well, first of all, you've got the whole big thing here. Now you can see Charles Bronson clean up the city all over this, clean up all over the city. Sorry. Oh yeah, I was right. Clean up the city all over the city. All right, I thought I misread it. That's kind of a tricky one because your brain kind of skips over the word city sometimes, I would imagine.
It's a tongue twister.
But what is this Frank rated X Frankenstein? Is it Andy Warhol's Frankenstein?
Yeah,
Okay. And oh, and I had to keep this now for something completely different. Great Monty Python movie. It's basically all their sketches, but they redid them for film. All their best sketches, I should say. They're discovering this British comedy group's films and acclaiming it the comedy hit of the year. And now for something truly funny. That's awesome. I love Monty Python. You guys like Python?
I love Movie Park then. How can you not? We used to stay up late until like 3 or 4 in the morning watching that. And the Shaw Brothers Kung Fu films.
Oh yeah. Phil, are you a Marx Brothers fan? I mean, a Monty Python fan?
I'm not a Monty Python fan.
What? I'm
Um,
so surprised, Bill. Oh my
yeah,
God.
I used to turn it off. It was always on channel 13 when I was a kid, and I'd be like, "This is stupid." I'm
It
sure if I
is.
watched it now, I'd like it, but
It
Oh, they're
not
is.
really.
brilliant.
It is brilliant, brilliant, brilliant stupidity. It is, and it becomes more endearing the older that you get. It
Yeah.
really does.
I
It
still quote
really.
I quote many of their sketches to this day. In fact, I think I quoted them this morning. All right. Look at this page here. I had a lot here. I'm not going to read all the tiny stuff, but I just wanted to start from the top here too. We've got pretty much what we've seen already. Um, but just what a time, huh? To go to the movies. I mean, look at all these. Look at here. Texas Chainsaw, Mark of the Devil, Slaughter Hotel, a triple feature.
Oh
Right.
my gosh.
But it's Mark of the Devil Part Two.
Oh, part two. Right. I don't think I've seen that one.
That's really crazy because two of those movies were marketed by Hallmark releasing. What year is this? 74?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think
74.
I can see the date at the top.
Yeah.
Uh,
Copy.
these would have been Hallmark releasing movies, Mark of the Devil and Slaughter Hotel, which is the Klaus Kinski film, the blue. Oh my God, I can't think of the actual name. Anyway, they had those two properties, but they did not have Texas Chainsaw Massacre. So I don't know how that ended up happening.
Hmm. Yeah, it's at
It's
three
cool
different
though.
drive-ins. And then what else? Was there something else? Death Wish and Serpico over there, Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Return of the Dragon.
Oh
Oh,
wow.
yeah.
The Green Hornet and the Hong Kong Cat. I didn't,
Hmm.
is that the Green Hornet cereal, you think? Because there was no actual Green Hornet movie ever until the Seth Rogen one.
It
Hong,
probably was.
Hong Kong Cat is a kung fu movie.
Yeah.
I know what that one is. I don't know what the Green Hornet is.
It's
Fury of
got
the
to
Black
be
Belt.
the serial, or either they were showing. Well, no, they wouldn't have done that back then.
El Topo. Holy shit.
Yeah.
El Topo at the Cinema 733.
I can't believe that played. Isn't that one also called Holy Mountain, or am I thinking of a different one?
No, that's another movie.
Okay. But El Topo's
Both
like,
by Hodorowski, but
okay,
not the same films.
not the same movie, yeah. But it's like over the top craziness, right?
Oh, well, every Hodorowski movie is.
You may have to check those out at some point, but I think they're hard to watch, right?
Oh, I guess it depends on. It wasn't hard for me to watch.
Oh, okay. Death Wish playing. Look at this, playing with four flies on gray velvet, the Giallo movie.
Oh my God, I love that movie. We talk about that at least once every show we do. Mimsy Farmer's meltdown at the end of the Four Flies on Gray Velvet, and the bullshit science that is required for the plot's conceit is just amazing.
Do you talk about it on Groovy Doom?
Mhm.
Nice. Oh, and Death Wish playing with Walking Tall. That's a great double feature.
Super 70s double.
Bo
Walking Tall.
Svensson. All right, we're getting here's the famous poster again with the catchphrase there that we read earlier. This is a great shot, but there's so many other good shots in that movie too they could have used. And here's yeah, the critics are loving it. And then oh, I this has nothing to do with it, but look who this is on the left.
Dinah Shore.
Well, look who this is on the left.
Oh, Dino.
It's
Oh, is that
Vincent
Vincent Price?
Yep.
Dino.
I had to
Oh,
include
there is Vincent
include
Price. I see him, yeah.
that. All right, what are we looking at? Oh yeah, a bunch of good ones too.
Warren Beatty.
Easy
The
Rider
Pro.
a re-release. Um, Johnny Bad, Black, Beautiful, Tough. Oh,
And
Johnny
you can
Tough.
tell this movie that was like super, super successful. It had so much advertising, Death Wish.
It did, and I think the Super Cops might have been a Terrence Hill and Bud Spencer movie. I could be wrong. The Parallax View. That's Warren Beatty, right?
That's
Oh yeah, he's
Warren
right in front of
Beatty.
the
Yeah,
middle.
Warren
Yeah,
Beatty.
It's like a political thriller.
yeah. And then here's another one. So it was just everywhere, and they were just yeah, like you said, Dantes. They're advertising the shit out of it. Here's a cool one. Look at this: Mandarin Magician, Bamboo Brotherhood, and Chinese Mechanic. And we've got Lee Marvin and Richard Burton in The Klansman. And then The Family, which, oh, Charles Bronson and Telly Savalas. So we got now two Charles Bronson movies out at the same time. We're going to see probably a couple others because he's got Death Wish, Runaway. Oh, the Odessa Files. That's John Voight, I think, isn't that right?
I don't remember who was in. Oh yeah, there's his name in
Is it?
teeny tiny print.
Oh, okay. I can't really see in
Poor
the
John Voight. What happened, John?
You're in tiny print. We got Harry and Tonto with Art Connie. That old Byway. Okay. And then that's it. So we'll stop the share. So Dantes, give us your final thoughts on Death Wish.
My final thoughts on Death Wish are watch it 3 times. And I'm gonna say watch it 3 times because each time you'll notice something completely different.
And now for something completely different.
You'll notice something completely different. It might even take you to a place in time where you think you might actually be riding a pissy subway train yourself. So, yes, 10 out of 10, totally. Because I totally was there. I mean, just very gritty, very real. Like, I'm actually even surprised that they like were not scared to actually like shoot that shit on location because that was actually like fucking New York and like it was real New York. Like, like
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah, absolutely. There was two quick things I wanted to mention. One is that did the detective remind you of the detective from The Exorcist?
Detective Orchas.
Yeah.
You mean
Bill?
Lee J. Cobb
Yeah.
in The Exorcist?
BJ Cobb. It just kind of was the same kind of style of a person, you know?
Yeah, I guess that was sort of like a stereotypical detective
Detective
persona that.
role.
Yeah. Same year as Exorcist too. So
Mhm.
so Bill, why don't you give us your final thoughts on Death Wish from 1974?
I think out of all the Death Wish movies, this is the one that I would be least likely to watch again, only because it was a little too realistic. The other ones are ridiculous, and there's you can enjoy those like potato chips, you know. But this one, this one hits a little hard for me.
It did too. I told you. I thought that scene with Jeff Goldblum, that was just too much for
Yeah.
me. I'm like, oh my God.
I
Yeah.
don't know. I mean, there's like horrible shit in everyone. There has to be horrible shit to make everybody in the audience angry so that when this guy starts killing people, you're not sitting there wondering, why does he think he has the right to do this? Like,
Right.
where is the justice for these people? Like, do we know he's right about this? Like, that's the problem with vigilantism. It's like you may know the person that, and it's worth noting in Death Wish, he doesn't actually get revenge on the people that victimized his family. I think they get arrested off screen, and they
Yeah.
talk about it. They're like, oh, they were captured. So this is not about him going after these people personally. This is just him lashing out at anybody that he thinks might be a criminal. But he a lot of these people he doesn't know, like a mugger. Okay, like, yeah, it's wrong to mug somebody, but you don't know why that person is doing that. And there could be that the person could be out of their mind, they could be drunk, they could be, and they come after you. And but the people in the movie Death Wish, it always gives you black and white situations.
Yeah.
Like there's no gray area in Death Wish. These people are villains. Even though this is just a mugger coming out of the shadows to harm you, that person's going to kill you. And I think real life is not always like that. These street encounters that people have, it would be real easy to misinterpret something like that. I think, especially in a big city where there's a lot of people and there's a lot of characters. I know because I work in the city. Pittsburgh is not a really huge city, but we have characters that approach us. And a couple of times people have come up to me and I've been like, almost felt like they were going to mug me or something, but nobody ever did. And nobody ever victimized me, at least on the street. And
Right.
but if I had pulled out a gun and shot them just because I thought they were, that's the problem with vigilantism, because you don't really know who is the person with the gun who thinks they're on a mission to rid the people. And it just so happens that like the people that they consider to be scum maybe just some sort of personal bias that they have against this type of person, and they're out to just enact their supposed revenge on people that are different than them. That I have a problem with. So that's my problem with vigilante movies in general, that attempt to present this as reality, because a vigilante movie, in the end, it's just going to be escapism for somebody. It's like tweaking somebody's nerve. That we've all been in these situations where we felt victimized and we felt
Mhm.
like we were not in control of a situation, unless you're very lucky. And I hope everybody is. But, I've been in situations like this, and I don't know what would have happened if I had a gun. My life could have turned out very differently, because like we talked about earlier, you shoot somebody and you kill them, that changes you
Yeah.
inside. I don't have to have experienced that to know that to be true.
Right.
And Death Wish is sort of like, I can see where people are coming from, where the people that say that it glorifies vigilantism. um the other movies that we're going to talk about tonight don't really glorify vigilantism, and that it's all like comic book stuff. That's the stuff that I like. That's how I want my vigilante movies to be. I don't like it when it tries to suggest that maybe I and people like me or anybody watching the movie should be doing this. I have a problem with that.
Yeah.
So that's what I'll say about Death Wish.
I thought it was cool. There was one point where he was inspiring people to stand up for themselves, like the little old lady with a hat pin stabbed the mugger that
Hmm.
was trying to take her purse.
I'm all for people fighting back. Don't let somebody attack you and hurt you. It's just, that this, and I'm not against people carrying a gun. I'm not anti-gun. Um, just, I think it's sort of like lighting a match and you don't know what the match is going to set on fire. That's how I see movies like Death Wish, because you don't know who is going to feel empowered to start doing something like that,
Right.
just because they saw it in a movie.
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm going to say I love this movie. I think it's one of the greatest vigilante films ever made. I'll definitely revisit it again in the future. I highly recommend it to anyone out there. It's not quite as graphic as you would think, but it definitely is tense and keeps you on edge. And like Bill said, it's got this gritty realism that makes it uncomfortable in a few scenes. But like the whole scene where the wife and daughter get attacked, that was just brutal. Um, but like, and again, Bill, you kind of just said this. So just to encapsulate, after seeing that scene, you're rooting for Charles Bronson all the way to get the bad guys, but he doesn't even get the guys that did it. I didn't even notice that.
That's true.
All right, so Dantes, you're up against the clock. Why don't we've got three more films. Why don't you, for now, just tell us which one was your favorite of the three, if you had one, and maybe how they compared to Death Wish. And then next time I'll let you get a little more in depth.
Well, I think honestly, my favorite out of all of the movies that we watched was Death Wish, and I'm just stuck on this film. I think because it really is sort of the granddaddy, like of all of these films. Like when I drew that parallel to the Brave One with Jodie Foster for a reason. There was the scene, like when he went home and threw up. There was the scene with Jodie Foster where after she, shoots the motherfucker who beat her up and left her there to die. She goes in the shower and she sits in the shower, for like an hour to wash the shame away and so for me, that was my favorite. And then also too, I think because like, and how can I not talk about like I Spit on Your Grave and all of those other movies too, because they had like the same level of like realism and just explicit like violence. And I still believe that these types of movies hit a raw nerve for a reason. Like people were not used to seeing stuff like that. Like, I mean, it's fine to like even now, and it's crazy that I can say that as a like it's fine to watch Fred Krueger watch around and murder helpless teens, but but you know, but like when you take that like surreal fantasy element away from it and you plant it into the real world, it just makes it very subversive, very predatory. And I guess it is an exploitation film since, Bill put it into that context because it is, preying upon the fears of, even now, like when I saw the movie, I'm like, man, this is like, I did mention the Mangione guy, kid, right, who shot the healthcare CEO because,
Yes.
Yeah.
so like, people even now still to this day are completely fed up and the danger with these types of films, even though I still think it's a really fucking good movie, is that it almost empowers you and encourages you to say like it's okay, go out there and shoot this motherfucker, even if they're looking at you first, you better shoot them first because they may mug you. So
But but of the other three, Vigilante, the Exterminator, and Vigilante Force, which one did you like best of the three?
You know what? Oh God, that's gonna be a hard one. That's gonna be a hard one. It really is. I think I might say Vigilante Force.
Okay.
Um, and the reason why I'm gonna say that is just because of Chris Christopherson. Don't judge me. Like my mom liked Chris Christopherson, so that's gonna be my favorite.
Nice. Nice. All right. So it's up to you. You can hang around till you have to absolutely go, or you can just go. It's up to you. Whatever you want to do.
Okay, no, guys. Well, I will see you guys at the next Fright Lounge.
Excellent.
I don't know when that will be, but I will definitely be there and I will be present. And yes,
Great. Excellent. Well, thanks for joining us again, Dantes, and see you next
Hi,
time.
Dantes.
see you guys. Thanks for having me again.
Okay. So next up, we've got Vigilante from 1982. In Vigilante, blue collar everyman Eddie Marino, played by Robert Forster, is living the American dream. until a gang of sadistic punks shatters his world by attacking his family and slipping through a broken justice system like grease through a cracked drain. But when the courts fail, his buddy Nick, Fred the Hammer Williamson, cool as ever, offers him a crash course in
Always.
street justice, complete with shotguns, muscle cars, and righteous fury. What follows is a gritty, bullet-riddled rampage through a decaying New York where mustaches are thick, vengeance is swift, and every low-life thug learns the hard way. Justice wears work boots, and it's just clocked in.
Wow.
So, Bill, excuse me. When was the first time you saw Vigilante?
Oh, I don't know. I did not watch it back in the day. I think I probably watched it as recently as 5 years ago. Uh, it just wasn't the kind of thing that interested me, when I was younger. And I wanted to see more films directed by William Lustig because I really love Maniac,
Oh yeah.
his film Maniac, and also Maniac Cop.
Yep.
Uh, so I wanted to catch up with this one, and I was pleased that it had that same look that he gives to all of his movies. They are gritty, but there's something sort of, I hate to keep using the term comic book, but
Well,
like,
larger than life.
yeah, like larger than life, maybe not quite realistic and cartoonish to a certain degree, like almost like, especially in Vigilante, you can see like thought bubbles appearing over their head, the characters' heads, and like they're like, "Eh." So yeah, that's what I love about William Lustig's films, and this was no exception.
Yeah. Yeah, this one got by me. I had never heard of it until I was in my 20s, I think is when I saw it. Um, and I would swear a couple of years ago I ordered the new Blu-ray that had come out of it.
Yeah.
And it's not in my shelf and it's not in my collection app, so I'm gonna have to look on because
Oh,
I would swear I bought it. Anyway, this movie's it's really good. I think it's almost as good as Death Wish. I think Death Wish is better. But Robert Forster's great in this, and it's got a cavalcade of character actors, which I didn't get a chance to go through every single one of them, but every other guy you see show up on the screen, you're like, oh, I know him. Oh, I know him. Oh, he was in this.
yeah.
He was in that. But it's definitely very enjoyable. So, like you said, William Lustig directed it. He also directed Maniac and the Maniac Cop trilogy. He directed all three of those. Oh, and Joe Spinell. Let's mention Joe Spinell is in this.
Yes, the Maniac himself. Rutanya Alda's in it.
Yep.
Um, she's been in so many things. Not that she's probably most well known as being Carol Ann in Mommy Dearest,
Oh,
but
that's
here
right.
she's Robert Forster's wife, Vicky.
Yeah.
And there's a great scene where she does nothing but scream. She's like running through the backyard, through the hanging laundry, screaming her head off.
That's
Uh,
funny.
and Rutanya Alda's husband, Richard Bright, is also in this. He
Yep.
plays Burke.
Burke. Yeah. And
Poor Richard Bright was he died a very sudden death. I think he was hit by a bus in
oh
New
my
York
God,
City. And yeah, it was really tragic.
that's
Uh
awful.
I can't remember what year that was. Yeah, it was a terrible thing.
Oh my God. Let's not forget Woody Strode is in this movie. He was just, I think this is, what year is this? This is 80
82.
82. So he had already done Kingdom of the Spiders with William Shatner back in like 74, 76 around. I think it was 76. And he was in fact, I mentioned Once Upon a Time in the West. He's in that as well. Uh,
Yeah.
so he was great. He was, if those who don't know, he was Robert Forster's cellmate and ends up saving his ass literally in the shower.
His
And
shower.
Forster doesn't even thank him.
I know. There no words were spoken between them about it.
Right.
Yeah, he was just like, and I'm sorry, I don't care how hard Woody Strode hits that really big guy. He just like looked like the teeny tiniest little thing going up against that big dude that had Robert Forster in a bear hug.
Yeah.
I don't believe he took him down, but it was in the script, so he
Yeah.
did.
Well, that's just how good he is, you know.
Right, yeah. He knew right where the kidney was and how to hit it.
I wanted to mention Vincent Beck played the judge. And he was, if he looks familiar to you, that's because he was Voldar in Santa Claus Conquers the Martians. So
That's
you
a
might not.
great connection.
I'm like, I recognize his voice. I went, wait a minute. And I had to go and look it up to confirm.
What about Carol Lynley, Kolchak's girlfriend?
Yes. Yeah. That
I
was
love Carol Lynley. I had such a crush on her. She was in Beware the Blob too.
Oh, really? I don't think I've
Yeah.
seen that.
You haven't seen Beware the Blob?
Is that the one that what's his name? Larry Hagman directed?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm gonna have to see that.
Oh, it's fucking amazing. It's a total weed movie. And
Yeah.
I think the rumor is that he was paid in weed to make it, that Jack Harris paid Larry Hagman in weed. Because like everybody's smoking weed in the movie, and probably everybody on the set was. And it's just like um a sketch comedy film, really, with some horror scenes of the blob attacking people. But I mean, there's people in that movie, like Sid Haig, a very early role for Sid Haig.
Wow.
Uh, um, who's the guy? Shelley Berman is in it. He plays this crazy hairdresser. There's a bald naked guy in the bathtub, probably my favorite part of the movie. And also, just there's so many people. Oh, Christian rocker Randy Stonehill is in it. I don't know how familiar you might be with contemporary Christian music, but
No.
Randy Stonehill and Larry Norman are both in this movie, and they had just moved to California to basically pioneer the Christian rock movement. And Larry Norman is in the movie too. And it was just anybody that Larry Hagman, he asked most of his neighbors in Malibu if they wanted to be in the movie because he lived next to Jack Harris, the producer of The Blob.
Oh yeah, yeah.
And Jack Harris showed Larry had never seen The Blob. So one night he showed him, he had like a reel and they projected it and watched it. And Larry Hagman loved it. And Jack Harris asked him, or one of them suggested a sequel to it, and it was on.
That's
Sorry, I went
awesome.
down like a path there.
That's okay. Oh man, there's a lot of great kills in this movie. A lot of people getting shot and then flying across the room or into a car, into the shower.
Yes.
There's a 20-minute car chase sequence at the end, but I love 70s car chases, so I didn't care that it was going on and on and on and on.
Oh yeah.
Oh my God. What was the music too. There's one scene where the Forrester and his buddies are in their battle van and they're pursuing this pimp and you just all of a sudden the music becomes like dreamy. I'm like, "Oh, that is so cool." It just made the scene so bizarre that it worked.
That's Bill
Um,
Lustig.
yeah, yeah. All right, so let's I know there was something else I was gonna say, but oh yeah, that's one thing I wanted to ask you. How can, well, first of all, Fred the Hammer Williamson, let's not forget that he's in this movie. He's
Sure.
awesome in this. Um, how is it that his character, no, they all seem like average to lower middle class working men. And how can he afford a 1982 Lincoln? Because that's what he's driving around in.
I guess it wasn't as out of reach as we thought it might be for the
Yeah,
average person.
maybe his military pension. All right, so I just moved that up so I can share this and Vigilante. And then where's the button? There it is. Okay. And so this one is, I can't really see where it's from just yet. I don't know. I can't see it. But we've got Vigilante right there. You're not safe anymore. And
It's
Lone
from
Wolf
Fort
McQuade.
Worth.
Huh?
This is from Fort Worth.
Well, okay. Fort Worth. Yeah. I don't know why I can't see the top. And look what it's playing up again. So Lone Wolf McQuade, Raiders of the Lost Ark, and Monty Python's The Meaning of Life. I am so surprised. I saw all three of those in the movie. I don't know how Vigilante got past me.
Yeah, it just wasn't the kind of thing I was looking for.
Yeah. And then this one says, can you read the title? Oh, there it is. Baffling, boring, and avoidable.
I don't think that's necessary.
No. In the, what is this? The latest essay on crime in the street addresses two questions. Do two wrongs make a right? Can justice be served with Carol Lindley as prosecutor? In the process, it blasts people with shotguns and radio-controlled car bombs and drops them off high places, seemingly to observe audience response and the hero's resigned satisfaction, or perhaps to see how high the victims will bounce. Which I love his remote control for the bomb that he puts in the car, and it's like it's
Oh, at
huge.
the end,
It's
yeah.
like wicked big.
And he makes it look so easy too. I
Right.
mean, who knew it could be that easy?
Oh my God. So this one's from England. It's from the Manchester
Oh,
Evening News.
I've never seen that before. Holy shit.
Isn't that
I
crazy?
love that.
It's,
Wow.
I guess what? That's people at a shooting range, it looks like.
Yeah.
If the law won't get them, we will. I love that. It was very hard to find different ones on these, but that's a good one. Look, it had the 18 rating, so they were able to play it
It
there.
wasn't even an X. Yeah.
All right, and then we've got a whole bunch of stuff going on here. So now we are in 1983. You got Pink Floyd, The Wall, Monty Python Live at the Hollywood Bowl, another Monty Python, Rocky Horror, Blood-Sucking Freaks. I love that movie. Although that movie's hard to watch too because there's certain scenes, but for some reason it's like in a car accident.
Certain scenes. Yeah.
Horrifying, but I can't take my eyes off it.
I think that was the movie too. It says it's rated R there, and Bloodsucking Freaks was never rated R. I mean, they submitted it to the MPAA, and who demanded that they make numerous cuts, and then they just released the uncut movie to theaters anyway without making the cuts and called it rated R. They got
That's
in
hilarious.
trouble for doing that. That's not allowed.
That's awesome. Look at another Charles Bronson movie, 10 to Midnight. Um, One Dark Night. One Dark Night. That's the one with Meg. What's her name?
Meg
Meg
Tilly
Tilly. Yeah, and Adam
and
West is.
Adam West.
Yep, I
Yeah.
saw that in the movies.
E.G. Daily.
Yep, I saw that in the movies. I saw 10 to Midnight. Um, 48 Hours, Joysticks, Lords of
Time
Discipline.
Walker too. Why didn't you mention Time
Oh
Walker?
yeah, Time Walker. I meant to mention that.
Yeah, a mummy movie.
Yep. Was that wasn't Russell Mulcahy? He didn't direct that.
No, I don't think so.
Hmm. I
Time
think
Walker's almost like a Sid and Marty Krofft horror movie.
it is.
I would call it a Sid and Marty Krofft horror movie. And there's somebody in it too, like Wesley Ure, I think,
Oh, is
from
he
Land of
really?
the Lost. I'm not sure. I know he's in Jennifer. I'm not sure if he's in Time Walker. There's some children's TV show staple in Time Walker.
Uh,
And
uh,
Tootsie, one of my favorite movies ever made.
Tootsie. Oh yeah, that's Dustin Hoffman. I'm just gonna look this up real quick. What was it? Oh, Time Walker. Because now I'm curious. Because I know I've seen it. Let's see what we've got here. Bear with me.
It's like there's a killer mummy, and at the end he turns out it's an extraterrestrial that
Right,
was like entombed in
right.
ancient Egypt,
It
as
stars
as you do.
right. It says Ben Murphy, Nick Axelrod, Kevin Brophy,
Kevin
Robert Friend.
Brophy, that's who I'm thinking of.
Who? Oh wow, Sherry Belafonte. Who was Kevin Brophy the one in the Sid and Marty Krofft movies? Let's see.
No, he wasn't, but he
Oh,
was in a TV show that I used to watch called Lucan,
yes.
and that's how I knew him from TV. It wasn't a children's show, but it was like, a boy raised by wolves.
Oh, right.
I think it was only on for like half a season.
That's funny. All right. Next, we've got another vigilante playing opposite a great lone wolf McQuaid poster. Alone, the renegade lawman. Together, they're an army. There was one time back in, I think it was around 1995 or 96. I used to work at a hardware store. I was in my 20s, and I was the manager of the shipping receiving department. And I had a Jeep Wrangler, and it was April 1st, and all of a sudden there was a snowstorm where it dumped like, I don't know, like 4 or 5 feet of snow on us, but I had to be at work at 5 in the morning to receive the order. My Jeep was buried, but I was able to shovel out enough to climb into the car, open the door and climb in. And I pulled the lone wolf McQuaid. If anyone recalls from seeing the movie, they bury him and he just guns it back and forth till he boom comes out of the hill. And I did the same thing in this,
Oh, see, you
except I
can
didn't
learn
have the beer can.
real life, real life skills from the movies.
Yeah. All of life's secrets are solved in the movies. I mean, all of life's problems are solved in the movies. All right, and then we've got another one here, and what was down the bottom? Oh yeah, another Lone Wolf McQuaid and joysticks.
Come back to the five and dime. Jimmy Dean. Jimmy Dean
Dean, yes.
shares tour de force.
Sandy Dennis. You know, Sandy Dennis was so funny. Have you ever seen the Out of Towners, her and Jack Lemmon?
No, I have not seen that one.
You have got to see that movie. It's absolutely hysterical. Jack Lemmon's basically this guy who he has a job interview in like New York City, and so the wife goes with him, and just anything and everything that can go wrong did go wrong, and it's just one thing after another. I don't even want to tell you some of the funny parts because I really do recommend that movie. But she's just like every time something happens, she's like, "Oh, George, they took our wallets," or something. All right, now here's a scathing review. Makers of Vigilante should be the ones lynched.
That is the limit.
Oh my God. They go into the description here, and he's like, "Oh, we're never shown how they were caught. The district attorney can't get a conviction. Instead, the corrupt judge, blah, blah, blah." All right, we're not going to read the whole thing. Another one, violence is almost nonstop in Vigilante.
Yeah.
Uh, Vigilante is as graphic as any horror movie. Its stars are popular veterans of the genre, and its female characters are treated as silly fools whose deaths are more than once treated as sight gags. I didn't get that out of this movie. Here we go. Is another one. You've got Tootsie and E.T. Heart Like a Wheel. Oh, and Curtains. I remember seeing. I don't think I saw that in the theater though. I saw that on video.
I love curtains.
That's like the killer doll, right? Obviously in the picture there.
No, it's the one with Samantha Egger,
Oh,
where she's an actress. There's like this role that everybody wants, and they're at this secluded house in the middle of winter, surrounded by snow, and the director is interviewing each of the actresses to see who's going to get the part, and the actresses start being murdered one by one
ooh.
by a killer in a hag mask.
Oh, right, right. Okay, I do remember that. All right, and then we've got another one here where no one is safe, and this had some cool. Oh yeah, High Road to China. The Outsiders, Bad Boys, which that is not the Will Smith and what's his name movie.
No. Many years before.
Yeah.
Bad Boys was Sean Penn,
Oh, right.
directed by Rick Rosenthal, who had just made Halloween 2. In fact, Jamie Lee Curtis has a cameo in Bad Boys as a hooker walking down the street. But
Wow.
yeah, Bad Boys, it's okay. I mean, it's like, a prison drama with teenage boys.
Yeah. I can't stand Sean Penn. I hate him.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan either. I don't know.
I mean, I do like Spicoli and what's the name of that? What was that
Fast
one?
Times at Ridgemont High.
Yes. Yeah, that's a good movie. And he's good in that. Here's another one, kind of the same. Oh, and that's it. So that's it for Vigilante.
This
And
movie was also released to theaters in some markets under the title Street Gang. And apparently, I posted images for it on Groovy Doom once, and Bill Lustig commented on it. He was like, "I didn't know that they released this to theaters under this title. This was a trick that the distributor played on me." Like,
wow.
because they probably didn't pay him
Yeah.
for those screenings under the title, because they thought maybe they could like put it out and make some money without him knowing about it. Because there was no internet back then, and
Right.
you just had to, unless he knew somebody there that was like, "Hey, Bill, I went and saw your movie. It was called Street Gang." he wouldn't have
That's
known.
funny. I did not know that. Um, so yeah, what was the oh, I thought it was a cool touch where, Robert Forster's first talking, like it takes a while. You see him kind of mulling things over after Fred Williamson approaches him, and he kind of argues back that, well, what if I didn't like somebody because of the way they parted their hair? Does that mean I get to kill them? And I thought that was a good, and opposite or anti-vigilante argument. But then, of course, he's pushed over the edge and he has to get revenge.
Frank
So anything
Polvino
else?
commented on the Facebook. He says the 70s contribution to fashion was the ankle holster.
Yes.
And Don Johnson carried it into the 80s.
It's a great 70s show. It takes place in the 70s, but it's from more recent times. It's called Life on Mars. And it's a British show. It only lasted 2 seasons. I think there's only like 6 or 8 episodes per season. I highly recommend it. One of my all-time favorite TV shows. It's about this guy, a cop named Sam Tyler. He's a detective, and he's just getting disillusioned with the way the police work is today, and it's so antiseptic, and their hands are always tied. And he gets into an accident, and he wakes up in 1973, and he doesn't know if he's time traveled, if he's in a coma dreaming this, or if he's lost his mind, or if he's got to find his way home, and it's such a great show. They did a remake in America and it wasn't that good. But and it just took it captured the whole grittiness that we've seen in these two movies of, except that it wasn't New York, it was London back in 73. And the cops would beat up people for information back then. They
Mm-hmm.
smoked, everybody smoked like a chimney. And it's a great movie. A great show, I should say. I highly recommend it. So, all right, Bill, final thoughts on Vigilante from 1982.
I like it a lot. This is kind of the thing that I like to see in a vigilante movie because, like I said, it's ridiculous. You know, I was a little disappointed by the shower scene. There was absolutely no frontal nudity from any of those dudes. It was all ass. And that's fine too, but it only goes so far. If that was a bunch of women in the shower, there would have been plenty of full frontal. So I think
Right, right.
that's why I have a problem with it. The guys were like so good at hiding their dongs on camera. It's like, no, don't stand like that. I can see it. Okay, stand like that. Um, but there's a great at the end of when the guys start filing out of the shower, like they realize this dude is there like to claim Robert Forster.
Yeah.
They all start filing out and they have to like slide by him and it's always like dong forward. I noticed that part. Yeah, yeah. But you know these are the things I notice in movies like
So
Vigilante.
you're saying the movie was discriminating against
Yes, against people that want to see naked guys.
dongs.
So but other than that, I like Vigilante, and
Yeah.
I make it a point to see any movie Rutanya Aldo's in.
Yes. Yep. And of course, also with Robert Forster, Fred the Hammer Williamson, Woody Strode, and Joe Spinell, you can't go wrong with this movie. Like I said, almost as good as Death Wish, not quite, but it's definitely super engaging, and I highly recommend this one as well. So, folks, we are going to take a break, and when we come back, we are going to talk about The Exterminator from 1980, and I got some interesting things to say about that. What are you
Me
giggling about?
too.
Oh, good.
I'll save my comments for when we come back from break.
Okay.
5 minutes, guys.
Yep. Okay, and just making sure everything is good. We are back, I believe. You're here, Bill, right?
Yes, I am here.
Excellent, excellent.
We picked up a couple viewers on the Facebook feed. Paul Workmeister is watching, and so is Christopher Von Bratz. So welcome, guys.
Awesome.
If
Welcome.
you're
Yeah.
even still there, because they started watching right before we went on break.
Oh. All right. So next up is The Exterminator from 1980, which I love the fact that that title predated Terminator. So
Mm-hmm.
that's pretty cool. So in The Exterminator, Robert Ginty plays John Eastland, a Vietnam vet with a flamethrower and a grudge, who trades his forklift for firepower and a gang after a gang brutally cripples his best friend. When the justice system shrugs, Eastland lights up New York's underworld like a 4th of July barbecue, incinerating pimps, mobsters, and lowlifes with the steely calm of a man who's seen too much and had enough. Blood splatters, bodies roast, and crime gets a fiery middle finger in this gloriously grimy grindhouse revenge fest where mercy dies in the first reel and justice wears a welding mask.
Where are you getting these synopses?
I used AI. I said, give me a plot synopsis, and I gave him the name of the movie. I said, make it entertaining and keep it to one paragraph. I get these awesome synopses now.
Well, yeah, they're amazing. You need to keep doing that.
Yeah, I will. Just like that graphic we had for the break was I basically took all four posters from the movies and I said combine these into one and create a tagline for it. And that's what that picture was
I
on
just
the
started using Chat GPT for certain
Yes,
things.
that's how I
Just
did it.
fooling around with it. I haven't actually, I've only made like two graphics with it that I actually kept. But it's interesting, to be able to tell it things just to see what it comes up with. 9 times out of 10, I don't like it and I don't use it. But and it takes forever too. Like you
Really?
got to wait a really long time for me. You use Chat GPT or you have some other AI thing
I
you
use
use?
I use ChatGTP and a
Yeah.
bunch of others, but lately I've been using ChatGTP like crazy because the information you get out of it, like I did this, I told you before the off mic, I did a 10-day fast recently. I just finished a couple of days ago. And so it like gave me a breakdown of exactly what my body was going through, exactly to expect. It said, and then I said, "Oh, I'm feeling woozy on my 10-day fast, however many days into it." And it's like, "Oh, your electrolytes are low. You need salt. You need, drinks with electrolytes in them." Like it helped me fix my stove today. Just took a picture of it. I said, the stove's not working, and it was like, oh, that's a GE model number, blah blah blah. And you put in the serial number, whatever. It's insane what it can do. For example, formatting, right? I take my notes and I hollow them into my phone, and I have a dash line in front of every line because that's just how my brain works. And so when I translate those to Google Docs for my notes. I ran it through the chat GTP. I just said, hey, take all these sentences, don't change because it'll edit them for you. Don't change any of the wording, just get rid of the formatting in front of the sentences and keep them all individual. And it does it. Boom. Instead of me having a
Wow.
backspace, enter, backspace, it does it in a second. So
I
anyway,
can't make it do anything practical for what I do, but I'm just learning.
yeah, yeah. No, but I use Midjourney for pictures and I use Microsoft Designer. Because they all three have different things that are good and bad about them. So, all right. So, Bill, first impression. When did you first see The Exterminator with Robert Ginty?
Oh, I don't even know. I think I may have rented it in the 80s, just because I thought it was a horror movie. They sort of marketed it as if it may be some kind of horror movie. They definitely did that with Exterminator 2, but I didn't remember it until I watched it recently, maybe like 10 years ago. Relatively recent. 10 years isn't recently, but
It's recent to
And
me.
then I watched it last week too, when for in preparation for this program because I really
Nice.
didn't remember anything about it.
Nice. I saw this at the drive-in. It left an impression on me. Even though it disturbed me, I loved it. It's one of those ones like that whole chicken hawk scene that as a 10-year-old kid that freaked the shit out of me. So it took me a few years to actually rewatch it again. And then once I came back to it, I loved it even more. This is a great vigilante movie. I've seen the sequel, but I don't remember it. I think Mario Van Peebles is the villain in that. I think that's even
Hmm.
more comic booky than this one.
X.
X, that's right. Yep.
Oh yeah, the sequel was crazy because that was I don't remember the director's name, but Canon Films was not. It was a Canon film, and they were not happy with the cut that he turned in. So they hired William Sachs, who was a well-known script doctor, movie doctor, and he directed new scenes and he fixed it. And he's the one that came up with the concept because Ginty didn't want to come back and film more scenes. So Sachs was like, it doesn't matter, we don't need him, we'll just turn this character into, because he wears a helmet, so
Oh,
it could be anybody in there. He filmed a bunch of scenes with the guy in the helmet incinerating people with a flamethrower. So that became the sequel's sort of gimmick, was that he just kept using that flamethrower over and over again.
right, right.
That was all
Mark
Bill Sachs.
Buntsman did the movie, directed the movie.
Okay. Yeah.
He must make bunt cake all the time. Um,
I'm more of a Bill Sachs fan than anybody else. Unfortunately, he passed away this year, and I didn't even know he was dead. Like there was nothing I didn't see any news pieces. Nobody was talking about it on blogs and
huh.
social media. But yeah, he died, unfortunately. He was in drive-in asylum back in the day. Super nice
Wow.
guy. Very approachable.
Yeah, yeah. He was
Greatly missed.
the writer that he was an actor in uh the first in this one, The Exterminator. He was one of the characters. I'm trying to think what his name was. Did I write it down? Oh, he was the burping ghoul.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And then he was a member of X's gang in the second one, but he was also in where is it? Oh, The Astrologer, which is one of those horror movies that I don't think gets a lot of or is not does not have a huge reputation, but I remember liking that movie. I think didn't
That's a
you and I
Sam
talk?
Panico favorite.
Yeah. I don't think we've actually covered that, but that was one I saw in the last 5 years. What is that one about? Do you remember?
Uh, I still don't know. Even after I watched it, I don't know what it's about.
Um, all right. Glickenhaus also did The Soldier, which was the same year. That's the one with Ken Wall. And he did 1988's Shakedown with Peter Weller and Sam Elliott. So he doesn't have a lot of films under his belt, but the ones he did were pretty good. And of course, Robert Ginty as this movie made me a fan of his, even though he wasn't really in a lot and a lot of his roles weren't that great. But I just remember when Mystery Science Theater covered Warriors of the Lost World, where he was the star, they kept calling him, referring to him as the paper chase guy. So then the paper chase guy came over here and it's because he was on that show.
Yeah.
And of course we've got Christopher George. I was surprised we didn't see Linda Day George in this, you know?
She must have been committed,
Yeah.
or she didn't want to, because she or the maybe she was supposed to play the Samantha Egger part, but the studio wanted Egger instead.
Yeah, that could be it. What was the other one? He was in something else that we talked about. I know he was in Day in the Animals, but we haven't covered that yet. Oh,
Um,
it's
so much,
Pieces.
pieces. Yeah,
Yeah,
City of the Living Dead,
yeah,
Mortuary.
yeah,
Christopher George has a long storied history with genre pictures.
yeah. He died young though, if I remember correctly. He was in the show Combat or Rat Patrol, one of those shows, and he was in a Jeep, like a Jeep flipped over as a stunt by
Hmm.
accident. And I guess that damaged his heart. So not too long after this movie, I think he passed away.
Yeah, he died in '83. He died the year Mortuary came out.
Oh, okay. Mortuary. I remember that too. I have that on. I recorded that off a cable one time.
Bill Paxton is,
Yeah,
is is the villain in that one.
that's right. Guess this guy's a couple cans short of a six pack. Oh wait, wrong Bill Paxton movie.
He's very different than he normally is too.
Yeah.
Proving that his other characters were just acting.
One kind of a cameo in this that kind of struck out to me was Roger Grimsby, because I heard his voice and all I could think of was Ghostbusters.
Wait, what? Who?
The real life newscaster Roger Grimsby does a news report in this on the TV within the movie.
Oh,
And he
okay.
also did a report in Ghostbusters, Ghostbusters are at it again, or I forget exactly what he said
I
at the.
didn't recognize him.
Yeah, I guess he's a New York uh, newscaster. So I noticed that Christopher George's car in this movie is the same make and color as the bad guys in Vigilante. I forget exactly what it was. It was like a Plymouth Duster or something, but it had the same like light blue on the front and darker blue in the back. And I was like, wait a minute, that looks almost identical.
Maybe it was the same car.
Oh my God. Well, I guess Roger Ebert saw this 6 months earlier than it came out at a advanced screening, and he criticized the Exterminator for being a sick example of the almost unbelievable descent that American movies had taken into gruesome savagery, and then he called it a direct ripoff of Death Wish.
All fair points.
Still, doesn't make it a bad movie.
Oh, yeah. Roger had to say those things. Roger Ebert secretly loved a lot of the movies that he trashed, and you could tell by how passionately he wrote about it.
Yeah.
When a movie really got under his skin, like I Spit on Your Grave and a couple other big ones
Friday
that
the
he wrote
13th.
shitty reviews of, you could tell he was genuinely offended by certain films. But there were other movies that he wrote about. Like he wrote a great 2-star review of Showgirls, and you could tell that he really liked Showgirls, and he just
Couldn't in
couldn't
good
bring
conscience.
himself to give it a higher star rating because he knew it wasn't like a good movie. So,
Yeah.
you know, he was more of an exploitation fan than Gene. Gene
Yeah.
was always a stick in the mud.
Yeah. Oh God. I hated Gene
Usually,
Siskel.
there were a couple times Gene really surprised me when he loved movies like The Howling, which he gave
Yes.
a really good review. Everybody hated The Howling. I think even Roger hated The Howling. And
Yeah.
to this day, I don't understand what anybody's problem is with The Howling. I think it's fucking amazing. I think it's better than American Werewolf in London. There, I said it. They're both great movies. I love American Werewolf too, but it's I think The Howling is way better.
Yeah. 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 I think hmm. I forget what I said when we talked about it on the show last year, but I like them both. I mean, they both have different, sides of the werewolf story. So
Mm-hmm.
I like the effect at the beginning during the Vietnam sequence. It's not really a flashback sequence. It's just sort of an origin tale of the two guys. First you get to see Robert Ginty and his
Yeah.
buddy and how they become friends. Or not how they become friends, I should say, just showing them as good friends, like saving each other's lives in the middle of combat. So that kind of sets them up. You're kind of locked in with them, and as the movie goes on. But there's that one effect of the guy getting his head sliced off, and when I rewatched it this time. I was like, wow, that looks really good. And
There
then come
was
to find
one
out,
sharp knife, I gotta tell you.
well,
It
yeah, I
it
was
cut
like,
right through the bone like butter.
I was just gonna say that. But that was a Stan Winston effect. So that's why it was so good.
Oh wow.
I didn't say it was realistic. I just said it was good.
It's not realistic at all. In fact, there's nowhere near the amount of blood that would have been coming out of that neck stump. But
Oh my God. So, all right, let's do some newspaper ads here. I've only got a handful, and I'm going to share my screen. I think that's it. Yeah.
that head comes off like a birthday cake. Now I'm thinking about it. It's like a piece of birthday cake that he cut into.
Right. Oh, of course I can't read. Can you read that at the? Oh, there we go. No, in something. What's it did it say?
In war, you have to kill to stay alive. On the streets of New York, it's often the same.
Yeah, that's awesome. The exterminator. Oops, the man they pushed
They
too far.
pushed too far. You might have heard about those kinds of men. Charles Bronson.
in a world. Yeah. Yeah, this has the kind of the same beats as Death Wish in terms of,
Yes.
hearing the statistics. Like someone will go, the crime rate's like this, and then obvious exposition, but it then too with him, same thing as Charles Bronson, is he kind of goes to his head and he realizes what happened, and then that's when he goes, I don't want to say he goes crazy, but he takes the law into his own hands. All right, look at this. Was playing around the same time as Mother's Day.
I love Mother's Day. Oh my God. What an amazing movie.
Yeah. And Dress to Kill and Caddyshack.
Hmm.
My Bodyguard. That movie depressed me. My Bodyguard. My mother
Yeah,
took me to see that.
it's a bummer.
Yeah.
It's not a feel-good film.
No. That and Mommy Dearest. My mother took me to see both of those movies, and boy, did I really walk away not the
Oh
same.
yeah.
It's just like,
She was after you for something.
I don't know. All right, here's another one. The Man They Pushed Too Far in Hollywood, California, around there. What's funny though? The helmet he's wearing in these posters, and I noticed that a long time ago, that it has nothing to do with, or it looks nothing like the helmet that he stole off of the guy whose bike he stole and never gave back.
I know. That's what he just feels like he's entitled to take people's property now.
Right. I
And he
mean, it's
doesn't
one
take
thing.
care of the bike either. He's not just borrowing it, he destroys it.
I mean, it's one thing in that moment when he's like, "Shit, I gotta get these guys now." So he jumps on the bike. He's with the old lady. She'll be fine, and he goes off to get them. But then he kept it for the rest of the movie.
Yeah. It's bullshit.
Uh, I cannot read. Is there a headline at the top of this? I'm sure I say put it in here for the headline, but I can't read it.
Well, you're zoomed in on Fame,
Oh, how's that?
and it's the same graphic as before, same tagline.
No, I mean at the top is the article.
Oh, no, it just says chilling violence of Exterminator.
Oh, okay. So this was it's much like Death Wish. This was kind of bugging people in the reviews. I didn't really see any reviews for Vigilante. I don't, or maybe we did. I don't recall.
You had one up, I think.
Yeah, I
It
think
was
you're
like the people of
right. You're
that
right. I
made
did.
Vigilante should be lynched.
That's right. They hated it. I forgot about that. Jackie Chan in the big brawl. Martial arts fight to the finish. And Caddyshack. Gotta love Caddyshack.
With Kristen DeBell. Christine DeBell.
So there's a town next to a town named Rochester, and their high school is Spalding. And every time we drive by it, for whatever reason, I go, Spalding! Caligula. Oh, and prom night. Yeah, dress to kill. That's cool. That's great. Look at this one. Death Ship. I know I've seen it, but I don't remember what it was.
Oh, I love Death Ship. We just did that on the show this season. I can't remember when, but George Kennedy in full freak out mode.
Wow.
Yeah, we did Death Ship and The Uninvited, that killer cat movie where it's like a monster cat on a yacht.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Prom Night and Demon,
Yeah.
which was a retitle of God Told Me To.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I was thinking because there's another movie called Demon. I thought.
Yeah, there's the South African film called The Demon.
Yes, that's what I thought it was. The big brawl again. But look at Lost Kung Fu Secrets and Kung Fu of the Drunkard. No. Oh,
Kung
Kung
Fu of
Fu
the Eight
Eight Drunkard.
Drunkards.
I
Yeah,
thought that
there
was
were
an
eight of
and
them.
sign.
What does it look like when drunk people do kung fu? Well, this movie will show you.
Right. Do you know they say, like, how some people are like, oh, I only play pool good when I'm drunk. That's because that's when they learn that skill, was when they were drunk. So if you learn a skill while you're inebriated, you can pretty much only do it at that level that you've learned it at while you're drunk. It's
See,
weird. All right,
what was
next.
that with Black Christmas?
Oh, let's go back.
The Mountain Men
Oh, The
and
Mountain Man.
Black Christmas.
Charlton Heston
Wow,
and Brian Keith.
that's a big idea to get used to. Those two movies together.
Yeah, it's weird. This Mountain Man it's like a survival movie, right?
I don't know. I haven't seen it. but Charlton Heston in a movie that followed by Black Christmas is just astonishing.
Yeah. Keep your
Okay.
asses in them seats. The scares are coming. All right. We've got Xanadu. Exterminator. Airplane. My mother took me to see that. I love that movie.
Both
Uh,
stunning films. I saw Xanadu in the theater when it was brand new.
oh, you're lucky. I love that movie. My wife is a huge Olivia Newton-John fan. She loves Grease and all that. She could not get through Xanadu. I sat down with her to watch it.
Why? Especially if she's an Olivia fan.
I don't know. She just said it was too bizarre and way
Yeah.
backed out. But look at this single. It's just the word, the exterminator at the movie theater there, the Fox Union. That's pretty cool. Oops.
Dark.
Yeah.
Dark realism. That's what
Oh,
the Exterminator's about.
a re-release of Enter the Dragon. And there we go. Here's another one. Oh, Hopscotch with Walter Matthau. Ordinary People. Ordinary People, that's a fucking drag.
Yeah, that's a bummer.
I read that book in college too.
Carol Burnett as a mean person.
Yeah. She was nasty in that.
She was horrible.
Oh my God. Smokey and the Hot Wire Gang. All right, that one I don't know. It's playing with Oh God Book 2, so it's got to be like a Disney movie or something or that level, you know?
Yeah, I don't know what that is.
Hello, is that it? Oh, I guess that's it. All right, so that's all I had. I didn't have too many on those. They were all kind of the same. So I'm gonna,
This was an Avco Embassy picture.
yes.
I just realized that. I forgot
And
Avco Embassy put that out.
so let's see what else. Oh, you know what? What's another scene that stuck with me from when I was 10 when I saw this was when um they take the garden thing with the three claws and they stab it into his buddy's back at like
Yeah, like
oh that bothered me.
yeah, they didn't. None of these gang members owned guns.
Right. Oh good. Oh good. Paul's still here. Um but the scene where he takes out the bad guys in the orange car with the orange car with the flames on it, I thought it was ironic that it went out by exploding. That was great.
Oh, well, it has to explode, you know.
Yeah.
Like there has to anytime a car flips over, it has to explode.
Right. So there's one thing he did, and actually this is something I asked ChatGTP about. He puts mercury in the bullets. And you think, oh, well, then it's gonna be extra poison to kill the guys if the bullet doesn't kill them. But in the real world, putting mercury in the bullets doesn't really do that much. Um, but in the brutal world of the exterminator, it's a symbol of just how far the vigilante's willing to go. You know, it adds weight to the bullet, so the impact could be greater. But the poison isn't fast acting enough, so it's negligible.
I didn't understand why he was doing that, to be honest. In fact,
Yeah.
I forgot about it until you just brought it up.
I think he thought he was just adding extra. Like I said, you shoot him, it doesn't kill him, but the poison will.
Well, he really had it out for just about anybody in this movie. This guy was a little more unsympathetic. He was unsympathetic compared to the heroes from the previous two films. And this one sort of has that hackneyed gimmick going for it. It's like the disturbed Vietnam vet.
Right.
Let's you know, this person that experienced death and murder close up, and now it's affected him. Now he's
Yeah.
going to take it out on everybody else. I thought that was a little, that whole thing is a little gratuitous, but it's overused at
Yeah.
best. But the Exterminator, it's really kind of you don't take it seriously. At least I didn't. It was so goofy, like the way the story is told. There's so much missing information. It just gets right to the important story beats. It's like they were
Yeah.
afraid
Yeah.
that the movie might be longer than 85 minutes.
It doesn't waste any time.
No.
I'm trying to find, do you remember what the movie with Dirk Benedict, oh, Ruckus with Dirk Benedict. You ever see that? That's a Vietnam vet comes
Mm.
back and He's all a little unhinged because of the war and stuff, and I think he ends up like having to defend his neighborhood or something.
Remember, we did My Friends Need Killing on the show, which is
Yes.
another crazy Vietnam vet
Yeah. And then
film.
of course is Rambo. And
That was different.
yeah, First
That was
Blood.
Rambo was different. They went after him in First Blood.
Even as a kid, when I first saw First Blood, I remember my buddy and my father took my buddy and I to see it, and we are walking out of the theater, and I go, he killed them because they wouldn't give him a sandwich.
Yes.
Apparently, I missed the point. It was a little bit bigger than that, but so Bill, why don't you give us your final thoughts on the Exterminator from 1980?
This is probably uh this is neck and neck with um Vigilante Justice for the films that we're doing tonight that are the silliest. I thought The Exterminator was really silly, especially the part where we find out that doctors and nurses use the hospital as a hookup spot. And Samantha Egger, somehow they got her to say these lines seriously. Like she said, what? I'm gonna take him into an empty hospital room and screw him. I don't know like what they were thinking, because I don't think you can't lock a hospital room, so anybody could have just walked in on them
I
doing
was
it
thinking the same thing.
in that bed. And but I guess everybody there was in on it. Like they probably all used the room too.
Right. Yeah, you probably just hang a sock on the doorknob or something.
This was not like modern days where you can't get a hospital room. There are so many people, there's not enough to go around.
Yeah.
So this was sort of like, oh yeah, we've got a whole wing of rooms we don't use. Just go down there. No one knows. It was kind of creepy. But that's the world of the Exterminator. Like I
Right.
said, this is not a
Well,
not a film to be taken seriously.
what was the thing about it you were giggling before we went to the break?
Oh, just all the stuff I said about how it's silly,
Oh,
basically. It's so goofy. It's almost like a spoof in certain parts, especially the part where he chains the two guys in the basement, and we learn that off screen one of the characters was eaten by rats.
yeah.
And the other one was still alive but had been partially eaten by rats.
Right.
So yeah, that's the shit I want to see. I mean, like, come on, show us the rat attack scene.
Right, right. I mean, he threw the guy down the meat grinder. That was awesome.
Yes, the meat grinder scene where he was like screaming and ground meat was coming out the bottom of it.
Yeah.
I'm like, is that all? It just looks like ground turkey. I
It
mean,
looked like they reused the shot from earlier when he showed him what it would do. He put the
because it
actual
was clothed, he was clothed, so there would have been like fabric in there
bits.
mixed
Yeah.
in there. He had his shoes on. There would have been a shoe that came through there.
Oh my God. Yeah, for me, this is a classic. I didn't until you talked about it. I could see you're talking about it being a spoof. I've never seen it that way, only because I saw it when I was 10 and it disturbed the shit out of me. Um, I'll never forget seeing this in the back of my parents' car. But I love it, and like I said before, I think it's on par with Death Wish. I think it's just almost not quite as good as Death Wish. But I think people should check this out. It's just a fun vigilante movie. I just found out, unfortunately, before this recording, that or before the show, I should say, that there's an unrated director's cut on Blu-ray. So now I'm gonna have to get that because I wanna see what was cut out. So, all right. Next, our fourth and last film of the evening is Vigilante Force from 1976. And the synopsis is in Vigilante Force, when a sleepy California oil town erupts into chaos thanks to a gold rush of roughnecks, brawls, and barroom shootouts, mild-mannered gas station owner Ben, played by Jan Michael Vincent, calls in his estranged, war-hardened brother Aaron, aka Chris Christopherson, to restore order. But Aaron doesn't just clean up the streets; he takes them, assembling a gang of mercenary misfits who turn the town into their own lawless playground. Suddenly, the cure is worse than the disease, and it's brother versus brother in a down and dirty, explosion packed showdown where loyalty burns, bullets fly, and only one sibling walks away with the town and their soul intact.
Who's it gonna be?
One review, I just want to say quickly, one reviewer back in 76 stated that it was an old B Western formula updated to 1976 small town California, complete with a Cain and Abel twist. I thought that was pretty spot on.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
when did you first see this? Did you see it back in the day?
No, I just watched it the other day because I've
Oh wow.
never seen it. And I'm glad I did because once again, there are people in this movie, include well, Chris Christopherson and Jan Michael Vincent,
Yep.
but Victoria Principal is in it. Wow. I
Bernadette Peters,
Bernadette Peters. I mean,
Andrew
holy shit.
Stevens.
Charles Cyphers,
Yep.
Sheriff Brackett from Halloween.
Yep.
Um, there were a
Andrew
lot of
Stevens. He's
people.
been in tons of stuff. He was in Massacre at Central High.
Oh, right, right. Yeah, okay. Another
He was
great
also
film.
in. Sorry, what?
Another great film.
Yes, and he was also in Day of the Animals with Christopher George. Um, and yeah, so Victoria Principal, of course, she was Pamela Ewing on Dallas. Chris Christopherson, everybody knows him. Well, first of all, I'm sorry, I skipped over the director. The director is George Armitage. He didn't do too many films that I really recognize, although he did Gross Point Blank in '97 with John Cusack. Does anything about him stick out to you? Do you remember anything? Or
No, no, I don't. I'm not familiar.
he wrote and directed this movie. It kind of, well, we'll get into that in a little bit, but we've got Chris Christopherson, where everybody knows him. I think modern audience, like, all right, older folks will remember him from A Star Is Born with Barbara Streisand, and he was a country singer too. Uh,
Yeah.
but modern audiences may remember him as playing Whistler in the Blade trilogy, which that's how my son Spencer knows who he is.
What about Alice Doesn't Live Here Anymore?
Oh, I never saw that.
Oh, well, yeah.
Is that the one that song that's like 5 hours long?
No, it's the movie that the series Alice with Linda Lavin was based on.
Oh, yes. Yeah,
Chris
which I used to love
Christopherson
that
is
show.
Ellen Burstyn's sort of love interest in that film.
Oh, okay. Is Vic Tayback in it?
Yes.
Really? Does he play the same character?
Yeah.
No.
Oh, it's so weird because if you've never seen it, obviously you haven't. So you should watch it because at one point, as soon as the action moves into the diner, there are scenes in there that it looks like you're watching the TV show almost because it's the same people, except um Diane, uh, what's her name? She plays Flo in
Oh,
the
Polly
film,
Holiday?
but it's not Polly Holiday. It's the actress who played Belle in the series Alice. They brought her back, but
Oh,
she couldn't play Flo because Flo had already been played by Polly Holiday. So they created a new character for her named Belle. Um, why can't I remember her name?
I remember Vera. Um,
Vera
and
is it's not the same actress that plays Vera. Vera is a little bit different in the film. I won't spoil it, but she's not quite the Vera that you know from the series. It's a good movie.
yeah, I'm just looking at it. So from '74, Ellen Burstyn.
Scorsese directed it.
Yep. Wow. Geez, I'm surprised. I mean, I was familiar. I knew it existed, but I always thought it was with that stupid song that I can't stand.
Alice's Restaurant.
Yes.
No.
Oh my God. My ex-wife would play that on whenever they play it on the radio, like Thanksgiving or something. And I'm like, oh, I'm not listening to this. And I walk out of the room. Uh,
There's a new girl in town and I'm feeling good.
so let's see, we got Ellen Burstyn, Chris Christopherson, Mia Bendixson, Alfred Lutter, Billy Greenbush, Layla Goldoni, um,
Jodie Foster.
Valerie Curtin, Vic Tayback, Jodie Foster, yep, Lane Bradbury, Harvey Keitel is in it.
Yes. In a
Uh,
very Harvey Keitel role as a violent wife beater.
so I don't know would you say Bonnie was the character or
No, who plays Flo?
Flo? Let me see. I don't see a Flo. Oh, there it is. Oh, Diane Ladd. Duh.
Thank you, Diane Ladd.
I missed it. I don't know how I missed it. All right, so let me see if I've got these graphics called up yet. No, I don't. I'm gonna do that right now. And we're gonna go back to oops. Vigilante Force. Oh, there's a whole bunch of them. Let's see. All right. So we'll get that. And then I'll do the share thingamabopper.
Alfred Lutter plays Alice's son Tommy in the film, and he only played Tommy in the series for the pilot, and then Philip McKeon took
Philip
over for the
McKean.
rest of it.
Yeah. All right. Here, can you see this?
Yeah,
All right. Revenge of the Cheerleaders. See what they'll do to save their school.
with Cheryl Rainbow Smith.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I've definitely never seen that. They called it God's Country until all hell broke loose. So this kind of had the same for Jan Michael Vincent. He kind of, I guess, thinking back, he did kind of have a similar path where he was starting to see that there was crime, but he just thought his brother was taking care of it until his brother wasn't.
Oh yeah, his brother was the criminal.
Oh, did we get into first impression? Oh, I asked you your first impression, but I didn't say mine.
No, yeah, go ahead.
I'm just trying to think what it was. I didn't I think I saw this on TV when I was a kid. I did not see it in the movies. But I mean, I totally skipped over him. I'm a huge Jan Michael Vincent fan, and I definitely caught this on TV because he was in it because he was Link in Danger Island on the Banana Splits.
Yes.
Remember that?
God, I forgot about that.
That's where I knew him from, and I was like, oh wow, that was Morgan. Another show that I is burned into my brain. I will never forget that Mutan was the bad guy, and Leslie and the professor. But he was great in that. And he was also in Big Wednesday, the surfing movie with Gary Busey and William Catt.
Yeah, I just watched that for the first time a couple months ago.
Oh yeah, I gotta revisit that. All right, so then the next one up here, we've got
I see
other stuff.
Beyond the Door and The Night Child. Oh my God. Now I'm excited.
Yes, look at that. Along with Eat My Dust by Ron Howard.
And Crazy Mama.
Bad News Bears, Godzilla versus Megalon.
They look there on the top of the Trade Center like Kong in
Yeah.
76.
Oh yeah. What movie is this? This is 76, right? Yeah.
Yeah, this would have been 7. That's why they put it like that on the poster to
Oh dear.
compete with King Kong.
Yeah. Do I think I have Beyond the Door on VHS. In fact, I think it's right over across the room for me.
Ah, a stunning film. It's my favorite Exorcist riff.
I'm gonna have to watch that. That might be a good topic for next month. Exorcist ripoffs. We already did Abby, but I'm sure there's plenty of others.
Are you telling me you've never seen Beyond the Door
I can't recall.
with Juliet Mills?
Oh yes.
Phoebe Figurelli is a silly name.
Yeah,
She's possessed in Beyond the Door.
that's right. Yeah. Look at Zachariah, the first electric Western. The heck? All right. So then we've got over here Charles Bronson in Alistair McLean's Breakheart Pass. He's another one that was just every week was a Charles Bronson movie. Death Row the
I
Express.
bet he just grabs that guy's ankle and pulls him down over the hill and climbs up.
Probably. I don't think I've seen that one. Bruce Lee and I and the Steel Edge of Revenge. That's so cool. The Starlight Drive-In. Look at the, here we go. Let's see. See large ad elsewhere on page. Oh, okay. I don't know if I got that. Oh, yeah, there it is. Oh, yeah, and another Jan Michael Vincent movie came out at the same time. The Baby Blue Marines. I thought this was okay, so this is a different one. There's another one too about the something with Hawk in the title. I can't think of it off the top of my head, but I think we'll come across it.
Shadow of the Hawk.
Shadow of the Hawk, yeah. That came out around this time too.
Baby Blue Marine is another HBO movie I used to watch all the time. I mean, it's not literally an HBO movie, just a movie that I watched over and over again because
Right.
they showed everything like 20 times in a month.
Yeah. We used to call it, "Hey, Beastmaster's on."
Yeah.
I think everybody across the country did.
Look at that beautiful ad for Vigilante Force.
I
love
know.
it.
Sometimes the most dangerous man you know is your own brother. See, I had forgotten that fact when I watched it this time around. So halfway through, when Chris Christopherson's shaking down the guy running the casino. I'm like, or whatever the bar. The yeah, was it? What was he running? It was an illegal. It was a casino, right?
It was a casino. It was
Yeah,
illegal gambling.
yeah.
We forgot to
And
mention that David Doyle is in this too.
oh yes, Bosley from Charlie's
Yes.
Angels.
And he shakes down David Doyle at the bank, gets him to give him this crazy loan, and then runs him over with a
Yeah.
car. Or he has one of his goons do it, but
And I remember thinking, wait a minute, why is he doing that? I'm like, oh, maybe he's just like infiltrating the bad guys and he's going to take them down. He's letting them run the casino because he did say at one point he had a good excuse for not not shutting it down was because if I shut it down, another one's going to open. I'll just keep this open and keep my eye on it. But I didn't realize he was getting kickback from it until later in the movie. I'm a little slow sometimes.
he was a crook.
Here's the same one.
Chris Christopherson,
Yeah,
you think you're so great. You're
yeah.
not.
Yeah, Michael Vincent's going to take his abs and kick your ass. I don't know how he's going to do that with his abs, but um,
They were way too lean in this movie. This was like these guys needed to eat a sandwich.
yeah.
There's the night child again.
Judson Pratt and Victor Brandt. That's cool. Look at this. The Night Child. That one I don't remember. Possessed into the darkness kind of evil.
AKA the cursed medallion.
Oh, okay.
Joanna Cassidy's in that too.
Wow. And Richard Johnson. I thought it was Howard Johnson.
Richard Johnson's also in Beyond the Door. That would
Oh,
be a
wow.
Richard Johnson double feature.
There you go. All right. Track down. What if street punks grabbed your sister? Similar theme, I would imagine. With Eric Estrada, Jim Mitchum.
Kathy Lee Crosby.
This is
Holy
like a
shit.
low rent direct to video movie.
Kathy Lee Crosby.
Ann Archer. Okay, she kind of became a bigger star after this.
Yeah.
But is that kind of you kind of see this vigilante image around. Oh, here we go. Up here, we've got Chris Christopherson and Bernadette Peters seem to be enjoying themselves
That's from
in the UA
Pittsburgh.
release Vigilante Force, currently playing first run in suburban and drive-in theaters. Jan Michael Vincent and Victoria Principal co-star. He was so mean to her.
Yeah.
Oh, he just treated her like total shit.
They treated everyone like shit.
Yeah, even his own brother.
He was a bad seed. The only one he was nice to was the little girl, his niece.
Yeah,
I kept thinking, like, well, you're so nice to her when you're gonna kill her father. Come
right.
on. Oh, I see. Don't open the window at the drive-in with apartment on the 13th floor,
Where do you see
aka
that?
Cannibal Man. It's at the ABC drive-in in the drive-in panel, right at the top.
Oh, up here?
No,
No, where? Oh,
middle of the
right here.
page.
Oh
There you
yeah,
go.
there it is.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, don't open the window.
There's a third feature, but I can't see it. Oh,
Vault of
Vault of
Horror.
Horror. There we go. That's like a you third feature. Vault of Horror. That's like something you'd go for.
Yeah, I love Vault of Horror.
Not that I don't like it too.
The boob tube again. What do you say to a naked lady?
The boob tube. I remember the ad for the boob tube. It's like a woman with a TV in front of her chest, and on the TV is boobs.
Yeah. Oh my God. Rollerball was playing at this time too. I love that movie. Dog Day Afternoon. Al Pacino. I always confuse the title Dog Day Afternoon with Straw Dogs. Maybe because there's dogs in the title.
It must be.
Don't open the window.
PG. Don't open the window is not PG.
Where do you see a PG?
It's like a hard R at the South Hills.
Oh yeah.
They
But
cut all the worst
here it's
violence
R.
out of it in the States. It's a really gruesome film. Did we ever talk about that on the show?
No, no.
It's AKA Let Sleeping Corpses Lie. The Living Dead at Manchester Morgue.
Oh yes. No, you know what? No, I talked about that on Then Is Now podcast.
Okay. That's what that is. That's it's Don't Open the Window.
That's right.
Movie.
That was in the back of my head. So look at this one. This is a different Vigilante Force picture.
Yeah.
I like that.
alternate ad artwork. Love it. It
Yeah.
even has a logo.
Yeah. Now check this out. Look at Tony Randall and Jack Klugman doing The Odd Couple live on stage. I would kill to see that.
Yeah, that would have been fantastic.
Oh my God. Oops. Okay. All right. So we've got Sean Connery and
Nashville
Robert
Girl.
McCartney.
Nashville Girl. Oh my God. That's a soul killer. We were talking about depressing movies. Nashville Girl.
Oh, you know what was another depressing movie that my mother took me to see was Whose Life Is It Anyway? With Richard
Oh my
Dreyfuss is
God,
paralyzed.
yes.
Oh, fucking I was so depressed after that movie. And I was like, what, when that came out? 81? I was 11.
That's when you learn that you can be alive and want to be dead.
Right. I never saw Nashville Girl. All she wanted was a break. All they wanted was her body.
That sums up the movie right there.
All right, so we get a bunch here. Let's go through here because there's a reason why I pulled this aside. Oh, so is this Chris Christopherson? Yep, the sailor who
Yeah.
fell from grace with the sea. And this is back in Disney's period where their live action movies weren't all that good, but yet we have fond memories of them.
The sailor who fell from grace with the sea is kind of like Alice doesn't live here anymore, but like the dark version of it is
Oh,
the son is psychotic.
oh, jeez. That's funny. So look at this. Main reason I grabbed this one, but was because I saw this ad, Bill. Now, let me talk first, and then I'll let you chime in. Um, David Carradine in Cannonball. I'm like, that can't be Death Race 2000. But then I read the annual Trans-American Outlaw Road Race, a cross-country demolition derby without rules. See the pileup of the century. I'm like, oh, that must be an alternate title of Death Race 2000. But do you know if it is?
No, I don't think it is.
No,
It's
it's
its
not.
own film.
He made this like pretty much the same year or shortly after the one where Death Race 2000,
Yeah.
and
The
they basically
Cannonball
did it
isn't
to
set in the
capitalize.
future.
Say what?
Cannonball isn't set in the future.
Right, right. I was like shocked. I was like, whoa, wait a minute. Now here's Shadow of the Hawk down on the left here.
Oh yeah, there we go.
This one I've never heard of and I've never seen.
It's like a spooky Native American type film. I don't think it's not a horror movie, but it's it's got a spooky theme.
Yeah, and it's a Jan Michael Vincent double feature playing with
Mm-hmm.
Baby Blue Marine.
Yep.
I'm gonna have to check that out because it's got Chief Dan George in it. Wasn't he in The Prophecy from 78?
Oh yeah. Prophecy, another phony Native American film.
Yeah, that movie. Another one I saw at the drive-in that scared the shit out of me.
Mm-hmm.
Oh my God, the Inside Out Bears. Why are they inside out? I don't know. All right, next one is, here's Cannonball again. I found it on a smaller ad. I guess it was the same thing. I just was fascinated by this because I had never heard that Carradine did a almost exact copy of his movie within the same year.
Yeah.
And here's a nice lineup here. Look at that vigilante force with the fist. I love that.
Oh wow, yeah. I think that's the first time we've seen that
Yeah.
design.
Look at J. Michael Vincent going, I'll show you. I'll give you a piece of my mind. Oops. And then there's Breakheart Pass again. And the Psychic Killer.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Trying to remember if I saw that one. I think I did. Oh no. What's the one with the dude's in the coma and he's killing people?
Meat Cleaver Massacre.
Yes. Yeah.
It's not Meat Cleaver Massacre. It's better than that.
His strange psychic force is even deadlier than a voodoo hex. First he drives them mad, then he kills, kills, and kills. Jesus Christ, we're gonna have to add that to the list. From the master of voodoo, he learned the evil secret of psychic power. All right, I'm sold. I want to see this movie. Who's in it? I can't even see.
Oh, I forget.
Paul Burke, Jim Hutton, Julie Adams. Uh, Nehemiah Persoff and Neville Brand. Graydon Clark wrote it. Oh, all right. Raymond Danton directed it. Coming soon, Lipstick. And then we've got it, Vigilante Force. So Vigilante Force, it kind of didn't it have that, even though there was some good rated R violence in it, didn't it seem like a TV movie? Or you had that feel?
Kind of. It had the abbreviated style of a TV movie. They just wanted to get it over. It was a Roger Corman film,
Yeah,
and notoriously, he didn't direct it. I should say,
yeah, he produced it.
produced it. And you can see a lot of Corman actors in it, like Dick Miller is in
Yes.
it, and by the way, Frank Palvino mentioned that David Doyle was in a movie we just watched last night on the program, No Way to Treat a Lady,
Oh.
with Rod Steiger and Lee Remick and George Siegel.
Oh,
But
wow.
yeah, um, there you go. I don't know where I was going with that.
All right, here's another one.
Look at that.
Isn't that cool?
Oh my God.
They just cut them out and put them closer together. That's hilarious.
Oh, did they? Like
Yeah,
color
because
forms.
if you go back and look at this, it's the same
Oh
shot.
yeah.
And they took her, but I don't know. There's another person they added in for down here. But that's the same drawing.
She
What?
looks like the referee in that other shot where she's in the middle of them. She's like, "Stop it."
Yeah. Brother fights brother. One has the mean muscle to take a town. The other has the gut courage to take it back. But ultimately, I like that the whole dynamic. Like I said, I had forgotten that. See, I was thinking walking into it this time, and I think I do it like every. I've only seen it. This is probably like the third time I've ever seen it, and I think each time I've walked in, I assume the two of them together are the vigilante force, and I
Yeah.
forget that it's not.
Well, because it sets it up that way at the beginning.
Yeah.
And then you realize that things are not as they seem.
I wondered why Jan Michael Vincent didn't join Chris Christopherson's team, and then I realized, well, it was a plot device because otherwise he would have, seen what they were doing right off the bat, and it would have been a whole different story.
Yeah.
What else do we get? Okay, so we got a big one. This one was, like I said, it was the whole page, just because I wanted to show everybody. I was hoping, Owen and Dantes would be here, but you've got a lot of movies here. The Rated X, Alice in Wonderland.
Also with Christine DeBelle.
Yep. Flesh Gordon. Drum with Warren Oates and Yaphet Kotto. Alpha Beta. Albert Finney and Rachel Roberts. Wow. I'd never heard of that one. Oh, look, the original King Kong in a re-release.
Oh, wow.
Vincent Francois Paul and the others. So that must be like an art house theater because it looks like, oh, Albert Finney, yeah, Alpha Beta.
Oh, I love that Twisted Sister movie, Stay Hungry.
I don't know if I've seen that.
I'm kidding. That's the title of their movie
Oh,
or their album. Twisted Sister, Stay Hungry.
that's funny.
It was just a bad joke. Oh, Misty Beethoven, Porno Chic.
Yeah, Teenage Surfer Girls.
A Kubrick Film Festival. That's a big idea to get used to. Wow.
Yeah, look at that, huh? 2001 Space Odyssey and Barry Lyndon. Well, now, film festival. Are there other films, or is it like
I
every week?
think probably like that show something the following week by Stanley Kubrick.
Oh, okay. Look over here on the left. You've got Superfly and Cleopatra Jones, and then
Mm-hmm.
Sparkle and Cooley High. And look
And
at
then the House of Exorcism and the Manson Massacre.
yeah,
House of Exorcism is, of course,
Lisa and the
Mario
Devil.
Bava's Lisa and the Devil, with
Yeah,
like totally it's one of the finest examples of a movie that's a doctored film. Bill Sachs didn't do it. Actually, Mario Bava did it himself after the producer made him, basically.
yeah.
But the Manson Massacre is another. It's an older movie called The Cult,
Oh, okay.
and Hallmark reissued it as the Manson Massacre, even though it doesn't have anything to do really with the Manson family.
Right.
But never mind.
Look at the mothers playing with the human tornado.
Rudy Ray Moore.
Oh my God. I love Rudy Ray Moore. I just recently watched Disco Godfather, and I fucking love that movie.
Yeah.
It's like everything about that works for me.
Ebony, Ivory, and Jade. I've never seen that one.
Where are you seeing that? Because like I said, my camera's in
Oh,
my way.
it's
So.
playing with the Human Tornado at the Budco Regency too. It's
Oh
right
yeah.
next to the Mothers.
Oh, right. Every Ivory and Jade. Yeah, I don't know that one. Let me look that one up real quick here. If I, oops.
Oh, I see the Omen also up there in the upper right hand
Oh
corner.
yeah.
Is the
Yeah.
Omen. I'm not a huge fan of the Omen. I like Omen 2 a little bit better than the original.
Yeah, it's got better kills too. Oh jeez. There's Owen. Let's see if I should read his text out loud. Uh oh my God. He was basically he goes, fuck, dude. I'm in Old Orchard at a campsite and couldn't find my phone for hours. It was at in a restaurant in Wells, Maine. WTF.
Oh well. Oh, and you missed out.
Yeah. Now he's got two shows to catch up on.
I think he might as well give up.
So I ruined everyone's night looking for my phone. Oh, jeez. Hold on. Let me just tell him real quick.
When
No
was the
worries,
last
dude.
time you were really scared? That's a strange tagline for the Human Tornado and Ebony, Ivory, and Jade. Why would they use that?
Well, hold on. I'll tell you that. I'm just messaging him. Um, so just tune in if you can. We're still live. We're on the last film. Or you can jump in and join us. Um, so Ebony, Ivory, and Jade. The story is an American track team has just arrived in the Philippines for an international competition. Among the competitors are Ginger and Pam, nicknamed Ivory and Ebony, who meet up with another friend, Jackie, nicknamed Jade. After they arrive at their hotel, oh, of course, I have to hit the button to read the whole thing. Just give me a basic plot. After they arrive at their hotel, a gang of thugs kidnaps them along with some other girls from
Oh,
the team. To get away, the trio are going to have to use all their fighting skills. Oh,
human
that sounds
trafficking. That's against the rules.
cool. So yeah, that looks good. I may have to check that one out. Human Tornado is good. I love the thing I love about Rudy Ray Moore's movies is that he's just honest. Just puts an honest effort into them. They come across as poor acting and poor choreography in the fight scenes and stuff, but it was all he had. And you know what? He was gonna make a movie and he fucking did it. And I love him for that. All right. So anything else on this thing? The Skyriders, Assault on the Hidden Fortress. See, now I saw The Omen. Oh, I saw Silent Movie in the theater. I definitely saw that in the theater, but a lot of these I did not see in the theater. All right, so let's go to the next one. We've got another article. There's J. Michael Vincent at the top there. He's taking cover because he's being shot at, even though you can't really see it. I tried to lighten it up, but
This must be British because it says it's rated X.
it's from the Westminster and Pimlico News. Vigilante Force tells a sensational story of what could and probably would happen in a small grassroots town in central California if the reserve oil fields nearby would be opened up as a result of an oil crisis. So, all right, so I'm going to stop the share there and get back to my notes here. Oops. All
It
right,
seems
so
like we've really reached the end of the program almost.
yes. Let me see. There's a couple of things I want to say about it. So this was the very last production filmed on. Oh, Dick Miller, by the way, was the piano player in the club. that's who he was.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I had to write that down. Um, the movie was the very last production filmed on the famous Mayberry backlot set at Desilu Studios in Culver City, California. This was just before the backlot was raised in 1976. This film ended an era that lasted 49 years for the former RKO 40 Acres backlot and then the Desilu Culver backlot. So that's pretty important, I'd say. It's a remake of a 1975 film called Bucktown, which had debuted the previous year.
Oh, well, there you go. I didn't know that. I've never seen Bucktown.
I've never seen that either. Um, so director Armitage says that Jan Michael Vincent's character Ben Arnold was named after Benedict Arnold. Ben Arnold, I get it. And Chris Christopherson's character Aaron was named after Aaron Burr. And Judson Prett's Harry Lee was Light Horse Harry Lee. And he says, he's quoted as saying, the entire movie is full of these very slightly coded references to the Revolutionary War. Although what I was really doing there was Vietnam. What would it be like if people took over your town as we have been doing to the hamlets of Vietnam? What if we brought Vietnam back to America? What would that be like? That's kind of what we were going after. But since the bicentennial year was coming on and bringing a lot of revisionist history with it, I thought I'd include a little Revolutionary War in the recipe. I've always tried to include something subversive, not hidden from anyone, just for my own interests.
That's interesting. I wouldn't have thought that came from one of the filmmakers.
I know. I know.
It
And
just
it's
seems like a yeehaw kind of movie.
right.
Perfect for the drive-in, by the way. This is a drive-in movie through and through.
Yes. I just thought it was very had an eclectic list of character actors. I loved that. Um, you know, pretty much all these movies had a lot of good actors.
Most of those people signed on because Chris Christopherson was going to be in the movie. Like that's
Right.
why Bernadette Peters signed on.
Oh, okay.
Is she wanted to work with Chris Christopherson. I don't think it was like going anywhere until he signed on and then everybody wanted to be in it.
Yeah. Yeah. There's a scene where Jan Michael Vincent's just sitting there. I think he's talking to someone, and dude walks in and just whacks him in the head with a baseball bat, and I screamed out
Oh
loud.
yeah, they were
Yeah.
eating dinner.
Oh my God. I'm sorry, but in real life that would have knocked him out. But that's just scared the shit out of me. But Chris Christopherson, he just goes bad. He shoots the girl, doesn't he? Is this the one where he shoots her into the shower, or was that in Vigilante? I can't remember now.
That was Vigilante, I think.
Yeah, yeah,
Chris Christopherson shoots Victoria Principal in this
that's right.
movie, and she falls into a ditch.
Yeah,
That was one of the most brutal things in the movie, by the way. It's like he like has somebody bring her out into the middle of nowhere so he can shoot her.
yeah,
And like she realizes at the last minute that he's gonna kill her. I didn't even think he was gonna kill her because she was Jan Michael Vincent's girlfriend.
yeah. Oh my God. Um, I thought it was interesting they had that plan too with the band uniforms because I thought that was weird when the guy was looking at the weapons that they ordered. He's like band uniforms.
Yeah, they were conveniently wearing these bright orange costumes that they never took off during the final gunfight because I was like, that'd be the first thing I would do is get the hell out of that bright orange thing so that maybe I wouldn't be quite so conspicuous. But
Well,
that
you know
was for
what?
the benefit of the audience.
I
So
was
we
just gonna
knew,
say because I remember thinking, oh, I mean, I can tell apart for the good guys from the bad
yeah,
guys.
that's probably why. Because they were like, no one's gonna know who's shooting at who.
And then Chris Christopherson's got the bazooka. Like, how awesome was
I
that?
know. Oh, God, they weren't fooling around.
No. Oh my God. I would love to see a Blu-ray of this movie. Um, maybe with, I mean, it was the version that I watched anyways was really crisp and clear. I thought it was very good.
Yeah, the one I watched looked good.
I'm trying to remember what service I watched it was on. Wasn't Tubi, right?
It may have been on YouTube. I don't remember there being commercials. I don't know though.
Yeah, I don't remember. Anyways, give us your final thoughts on Vigilante Force from 1976.
It was a great 70s film. It definitely very much of its era, a fun drive-in movie. I say watch and enjoy.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Yep. It's another good one. The cast really holds up in this one. I'm glad it held the whole movie itself held up well. I thought it was engaging. I was totally interested through the whole thing. I was invested in the characters, especially when I thought Chris Christopherson was going to be a good guy, and then I kind of felt like I could empathize with J. Michael Vincent's character. Um, I don't think this is quite as good as the other three. I think, but just a little bit below those because I get that TV movie, like a rated R TV movie vibe.
Yeah,
But
that's fair.
I highly recommend it. I think you should check it out. It's just fun from beginning to end. I like how it looks. Don't get me wrong. I think it's brightly lit and colorful through the whole thing. It's not a dark movie by any stretch.
That's true. It's well, because a lot of it takes place in broad daylight out in the middle of like a dust bowl,
Yeah.
apparently. So it was just kind of like, an outdoor film.
Right.
Uh, Very much because it was the bicentennial, and they were having I love the little girl's Uncle Sam costume that she was gonna wear for the parade.
Yeah.
That was boss.
That was yeah.
It's a shame she would have had to grow out of that because I would have kept it and worn it.
Oh man, that's awesome. Well, folks, thank you for joining this month on Fright Lines. Do we have any other comments that we need to address or
We're caught up. Yeah. Thanks
okay.
to Frank, Paul, Laura was watching, Laura Monteiro, Christopher Von Bross. Thanks to you guys for hanging out with us.
Yes, thanks for joining us. We really appreciate it. And if you could, if you haven't already, please subscribe and hit the little the drop down thing so you hit the bell so you can get notifications and tell your friends about us. We're, obviously you found us through Facebook for the most part, I would imagine, or YouTube, but tell your friends to check out the Fright Lounge. I know our schedule is kind of erratic. I think what, Bill, we originally were going to do like the first Sunday of every month. And then that fell by the wayside
It
after my
doesn't work
graduation.
out. Yeah. It's just life happens. We're not getting paid for this shit. So we're going to be on when we're on, basically.
But I think the only times we skip it is I think December. This past December. No, we did December, didn't we? There was 1 month we
There was
skipped.
1 month we skipped. Yeah. Because there
Yeah.
was too much going on.
Yeah. Oh, it might have been November because I moved right around there. So, all right, Bill. So tell the folks where they can find you and your magazine and your awesome Saturday night show on.
Subscribe to Groovy Doom on YouTube. That's what I want everybody to do. Whether you watch it or not, please just go give me a subscription. And also, I publish a print fanzine called Drive-In Asylum. You can buy that on Etsy at Groovy Doom, the Groovy Doom shop on Etsy. And let's see, what else? I also make frequent guest appearances on the Making Tarantino podcast. And other than Fright Lounge, I can't think of anybody else that's had me on as a podcast.
I
I've been
did
on
not.
other things. I just can't think of it at the moment.
I did not know you were a frequent guest on Making Tarantino. I haven't even heard of that.
Making Tarantino the podcast is the title. Our buddy Philip Duke puts it out, and he has a list of films that Tarantino recommends, and he's moving through each movie on the list, doing a podcast about it.
Oh,
So it's fun, film geeky stuff.
that's awesome. He must have listened to Tarantino's podcast. That was at Video Vault. Oh no, Video.
With the one with Roger Avery.
Yes, I love
Yeah.
that. He hasn't had a new one in a couple years, but he does a great job with it. And folks, you can find me, of course, at Haven Podcasts. That's plural, havenpodcasts.com, where you'll find all of my blogs, which I have not caught up in a while, but I'm hoping to catch up on soon, as well as my other shows, the Then Is Now podcast, The East Meets the West, in which we discuss Shaw Brothers Kung Fu films and Italian spaghetti westerns, and the Cult Movie Lounge, where Robert Manel and he's mainly into Jess Franco films, so we mainly talk about Jess Franco, but we do talk about a lot of other cult movies. And you can also find me if you're interested in soap operas. I'm a writer for SoapHub.com and Soap Central. So that's where folks can find me. And hopefully next time, Dantes and Owen, or Dantes at least showed up for the first movie. Hopefully they'll both be here for the full show next time. So thank you for joining us, and just stay tuned, and we'll let you know what's going to happen next month.
Okay.